Thank you, everyone that was waiting. We are now live. It is our Tuesday night show, Americanos Podcast. We go live here, 8 p.m. on the West Coast. Thank you, everyone, for waiting to join. As we're waiting for everyone to come into the chat, please, guys, throughout the night, join the chat, comment live. That's what makes it a lot of fun. We got a lot of news to break down over the weekend. We got a lot of new updates on Iran, a lot of stuff happening here back home. Before we get into the headlines and everything, always want to introduce, welcome with my good, awesome co-host, Mr. Anthony.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Tuesday edition of Americanos Podcast. We've got a great show lined up for you guys today. A lot of top headlines. Iran is back front and center. As you guys can see from our thumbnail, we've got the 3 fallen U.S. service members that we'll be discussing in detail. Also, some new developments with Iran and the front war there. But also some stuff that we're going to be covering here locally, especially in California, because we also have another great guest for you guys today. He is running for Attorney General of California, Mr. Michael Gates.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. Michael Gates for Attorney General, lifelong resident of Huntington Beach, fighting for everyday Californians in this race. So I'm looking forward to talking about it.
Awesome. Well, Michael, thank you for joining us live on the show. He's here live, and it's going to be awesome because the chat gets to interact with us. They get to ask some questions as we get to cover multiple stories. We'll have Michael's take and also some of the things that he's looking at. Well, Michael, thank you for joining us. It gets a little wild with the Latinos. But you're
Forewarning.
Yeah. Just a little heads up. It gets a little wild on the 8 p.m. show. But once again, thank you, everyone that joined us and sharing everything. We did want to start off with some of our major story headlines that we needed to cover. So over the weekend, we are learning that the Iran war has resumed, according to President Trump. We saw the strikes continue between both countries, Iran and the United States. The U.S. continues those airstrikes tonight. That is the 11th straight night of those attacks. And some of the major headlines coming out was tragically that we are now learning that 3 U.S. American soldiers were killed in an Iranian drone missile attack at a Jordan U.S. airbase. Some of the latest updates is there is a 4th U.S. service member that is still unidentified and is missing. But actually, Anthony, right before I came on, is looking like that they're now reporting that the U.S. soldier has tragically passed away. So as of right now, guys, the death toll is 17 U.S. Service members have been killed since the war started. At least 100 U.S. soldiers were actually injured since the resume of the war. And the Pentagon facing some pressure from media outlets because that information was just not being released from the Pentagon. So it was unclear of just how many deaths there were, how many injuries there were. That's now getting released, but that only got released after the pressure came of us learning about the 3rd U.S. soldier that has been identified. So we are now learning that Private Isabella Gonzalez from Texas, 19 years old. She enlisted in the Army last year, served as an air and missile defense crew member, maintaining and using the systems protecting U.S. bases from Iranian attacks. She was killed Friday from an Iranian missile and drone attack at a Jordan U.S. airbase. She was assigned to the 1st Battalion and the 57th Air Defense Artillery Regiment, 10th Army and Air Missile Defense Command. First Lieutenant. We're also learning the ID of Tyler Feehan, 25 years old, from Hawaii. He died from wounds from that Friday attack at the Jordan U.S. Air Base. Tyler Feehan did enlist in the Army back in 2019. He was assigned to the 2nd Battalion, 55th Air Defense Artillery Regiment, and 32nd Army Air and Missile Defense Command at Fort Bragg. The 3rd soldier that was identified was Sergeant Michael Emmanuel Swinton, 30 years old, from North Carolina. He died Sunday following a controlled detonation attack from Friday. Swinton was assigned to the 2nd Battalion and 55th Air Defense Artillery Regiment. He served as an early warning systems operator responsible for detecting and tackling and reporting incoming enemy threats to help protect those U.S. Forces. So, Anthony, just any reactions, kind of some of the news, and now that we're learning some of the U.S. soldiers and their stories.
Yeah, I mean, obviously devastating, having served myself and then having a son in the Air Force right now. There's nothing more devastating than hearing that it looks like we are on the cusp of just another major Middle East war. It's kind of like that meme, born too early for a Middle East war, born just in time for a Middle East war. It seems like these campaigns don't stop. Obviously, you've got a lot of the MAGA base reasonably upset that it looks like things things are ramping up. Donald Trump, I think we talked about this last week, sent that letter over to Congress saying that they will resume attacks on Iran for the next 60 days, essentially saying even today that things are going to be ramping up with Iran. Obviously, you've got Secretary of War Pete Hegseth saying that for every American dead, we're going to be returning tenfold, 100 times fold to Iran. And then they have resumed strikes in Iran. And so it's looking like things are not de-escalating. Guys, I know we're kind of been doing a lot of back and forth for the last couple of weeks in regards to the Iran war. It kind of seemed like things were kind of dying down. Then we had the MOU order, the signing at the Versailles. It seemed like things were kind of dying down. Hopefully in time for midterms, people were kind of saying maybe it's a little bit of tactic there for things to die off. But it looks like things are back on. And now you've got, I think you shared it, Jorge, on your stories, Laura Ingram saying like it's time to reel this back in and like something's got to happen, you know. You've got a lot of reports from Axios. I think Washington Post was also posting that sources close to the Pentagon, to the White House, are saying that we're basically at like a fork in the road. We're either about to go all in on Iran or we're about to just completely pull out. And so it's going to be, you know, I don't envy President Trump. I don't envy the administration right now having to make such a hard decision. Obviously, seeing dead U.S. service members, I think a lot of people justifiably are looking for some kind of revenge. It's also very interesting. I don't know if you saw this report, Jorge, where Israel was saying, Ben Gvir, the National Director of Intelligence, was essentially saying that at this point in time, Israel will not be joining in on the attacks against Iran. So that's also very interesting because obviously you kind of had the optics there that this was looking like Israel had dragged us into the war, but now Israel is saying we want nothing really to do with it at this point in time. And so, yeah, just a lot of ramping up. And now the death toll, it got to the point where President Trump actually posted on Truth Social today, kind of looking back at the past wars, saying that like the Iraqi war, 2,000 deaths, and then he kind of listed a couple of Afghanistan war, this amount of deaths, and I guess he was just kind of reminding Americans that the Iran conflict has only been lasted, 4 months? Even though initially they told us it was only going to take weeks, maybe a couple months. Now we're a month 4, looking at a full-scale war potentially, according to these sources at Axios and WAPO. And he's reminding people we only have the 17 confirmed deaths, but one too many, man. That's just a reality. And I think that. I'm in a different position now. When I was in the military, it was kind of like, hey, let it be me so that my children may know peace. But now my children are in the military and active.
I'm going to be honest, man.
It's crazy.
When I saw the story about 19-year-old Isabella Gonzalez,
bro,
the first thing I thought about was your son.
My son is 19.
I thought about that was the first person I thought about. I'm like, man, Anthony's son. And it's super heartbreaking, guys, because now when we learn about these stories about the American soldiers, their stories go out to the public. And I think what's heartbreaking with the Isabella Gonzalez story is that she's 19 years old, and the videos that are being propped up right now in the media is her receiving her high school diploma a year ago.
I know.
A year ago.
It's crazy. And now a year later, we're losing lives in the Middle East, man.
For Sergeant Michael Swinton from North Carolina, I'm 31 years old. Michael is 30 years old. And he now leaves behind his wife and a 4-year-old daughter. And I think what maybe President Trump doesn't understand, and I disagree with that Truth Social post, because more than ever, Americans don't have the appetite for war. Right. I think the latest polls that we got, I think you and I talked about, Anthony, this war right now is as unpopular as the Vietnam War. And every headline is negative. The Washington Post today, the Pentagon seeking billions into the Iran war and is quickly running short on cash. According to Secretary Pete Hegseth, the war in Iran has already cost $37.5 billion, and they're seeking, I think, another $87 billion for that. And we could just go down the line. I mean, you want to talk about air defense, long-range missile munitions? A U.S. official told the Washington Post, we do not have enough air defense and long-range munitions due to low supply and battle damage to safely sustain operations. I don't think the White House is aware of that.
Yeah.
Hold on. And the last one was the U.S. intelligence reports offer a pessimistic view on new rounds of U.S. military strikes against Iran. They are unlikely to have a significant impact on Iran or softening negotiations. I've basically been like watching a bunch of military analysts kind of cover the war, and the biggest takeaway that I have so far is that an air campaign in history has never worked. And that at some point, if the United States wants to win the war, it's going to have to be some type of ground invasion. But an air campaign is not going to work, and we've now emboldened Iran. They attacked the Gulf states, and then now American casualties on the rise, energy's on the rise, the prices and gas. And then you got Laura Ingraham, I think yesterday, with that monologue, almost warning the Fox News boomers, Trump, you better end this now, because it is very grim for the midterms. And once again, there is no easy off ramp for the president.
I think that if you've lost Fox News and you've lost the boomer audience there, I think you've
pro-war Fox. If you lost pro-war Fox,
if you've lost them, I think it's just a huge warning signal. But on top of that, I was telling you on the ride over that it looks like there was a journalist out of Iran in which he was talking about how it's looking like Iran has preliminary plans to go all in on Kuwait, which they neighbor that country, and are looking to overtake the U.S. bases there. So Iran's basically kind of saying, I think that the U.S. has overplayed its hand. And I think that here's the reality. Can we strategically, militarily overpower Iran? Yes, but it's not going to be instant. And I think that maybe President Trump was given bad intel, potentially by Israel, saying like, hey, this is going to be quick, it's going to be done over with. And then lo and behold, remember we were talking about those early reports where Israel was saying the people are out in the streets and they're protesting. If you just went in there and promised the people of Iran that we will back them, the Iranian people themselves will overtake the government. That ended up being a lie. You know, then you had Israel saying, like, if we don't go in now, there's going to be the weapons of mass destruction. And then you had DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, once again, I know we've repeated this over and over, saying we have there's no such evidence of that. But that doesn't mean that maybe other countries do have that. And so, again, we're in that fork in the road of what's about to happen. But since the very beginning, I think Donald Trump has understood that there is no winning in Iran unless you go in on a ground invasion. And now we've got reporters out of Iran saying that Iran's going to be making the first move. And that's the first time. If you go back, I remember listening to this on Tucker Carlson where he said Iran has never actually threatened the U.S. or any of its embassies or anywhere abroad in regards to militarily moving against them. And I had to look that up because I'm like, I don't know if this is like another Tucker just quick soundbite or if that's true, but I did the research. Iran has actually never done that. It's always been through proxies, the Houthis out in Yemen and Lebanon, et cetera. But they've never actually mobilized its own military like, okay, we're about to attack. And now there's reports of that. And so I think they feel emboldened. Why? Because they've got these drones coming out of Russia that cost less than $30,000 to build. They're almost impossible to stop. And America has to respond with $5 to $15 million of one of its missiles in order to take down one of these $30,000 drones. And so I think that that's maybe, we talked about this last week, why there was a little bit of ceasefire, because I think America was buying time. It's like, we don't have a plan for these drones that they're just able to mass import from Russia. How do we stop these $30,000 drones that are able to make us targets? And then on top of that, that report that U.S. Intel apparently now has knowledge that Russia and China are supplying the intel to, and that's why they've been able to successfully kill Americans. And so now you're tying in China. Now you're tying.
This is a nightmare scenario for the Trump administration.
Absolutely.
One thing, and before we move on, the kind of last thing I want the audience to kind of simmer on it, and we'll probably touch Iran on at the end of the show, but Iran is not going to beat the United States purely on military capability. They can't do that. So what Iran is going to do, and one thing that they have that the United States does not have, is they have time. They have the economic leverage of the Strait of Hormuz, and they just know the longer that this war goes on, they keep fracturing the voter base here in the United States. They also fracture the MAGA base, and by attacking all the Gulf states, they have just everything is in chaos. And I made a video today, and people could disagree with it. I think Iran is winning the war. I'm seeing Vietnam 2.0 right now, but honestly, that we could probably keep touching on it. I wanted to get on your story, Anthony, about in New Jersey, because that's a big one. That was making the headlines on next, and then we'll get Michael to chime in here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Mr. Michael Gates, I'm sure we were talking about this before the show started here, in which we have. It's interesting. President Trump made an address to the nation last week in which he was saying that they know for a fact that the elections were rigged. They understand that the CCP was in cahoots, potentially with some of the Democrats back then in 2020. And now you have the governor of New Jersey, Mickey Sherrill, I think I'm pronouncing it right, essentially coming out maybe ahead of some of the investigations, saying last week I learned that a serious software error It just so happens to be a software error. In New Jersey's motor vehicle system led to the registration of roughly 6,600 people who indicated that they were not U.S. citizens between June 2023 and June 2024, almost 3 years prior to my taking office. She essentially goes on to say that this was a huge software error, that it was at no fault to these non-U.S. citizens, and that they are aware that at least 400 of these 6,600 took part in the elections, and that they are looking to correct that. Do you think this is the governor doing a little bit of damage control? Do you foresee this kind of going somewhere? What do you think about President Trump's address to the nation? And, being that you're running as candidate for Attorney General, some of the questions that we actually had here by some of our live viewers is, what are we going to be doing about the voting process here in California?
Yeah, so I mean, it's obviously a great question, top of mind for the nation, top of mind for Californians here as we go to the polls, and in the aftermath of the June primary, where a lot of people, for instance, in Los Angeles, were rooting for Spencer Pratt. He was in a strong second place, and then that evaporated overnight with late counting after Election Day. So the elections are a concern. The ballot counting after Election Day is a concern. And there are a lot of issues throughout the country. I worked last year in the administration at the Department of Justice, and a lot of my work was election integrity. And so I was the one that sued California last year for violating federal elections laws, and I sued other states as well. And what we were doing is going after the voter rolls. We found through doing various screenings or analysis of various states' voter rolls that there were a lot of issues. One state had over 1 million duplicates, for instance, on their voter rolls, and there are faulty registrations. The Department of Justice came out I think just a couple of weeks ago and said that they found more than 250,000 across the country, more than 250,000 illegals had voted in past elections. So there are stories everywhere. There are issues everywhere. I can tell you that what we have in California is a mess. We're lawless in California because Attorney General Rob Bonta is simply not enforcing the law, and he doesn't care about election integrity. If he did, he would be, announcing an investigation into the Los Angeles June primary election to get to the bottom of the Spencer Pratt race, right? And, I called for that investigation before, and I am telling everybody in California that when I'm elected as Attorney General in November, I am actually going to launch an investigation into the June primary for the Los Angeles elections. And the point is this: investigate, and then if you find that there was nothing wrong and everything was done according to process and the law, then you announce that nothing was wrong, right, and you build confidence in the system. Right. But when you don't do anything and you just let these stories come out and then people speculate, then it lowers confidence in our systems. Right. So I do believe that there are errors, that there is voter fraud. We don't know how widespread. We have seen isolated incidents. How many of those we don't know, but that's why you investigate, right? And Bill Asaley from the Central District, from the Department of Justice here in California, has already announced that he's looking into voter fraud in Los Angeles. And so, the point is there's a lot, and we need to investigate. When I'm Attorney General, I'm going to be investigating every single complaint or issue or concern with election integrity issues, whatever they are, wherever they come from, whatever county they're in. When there's a complaint or a concern, we are going to be investigating them. When we find the wrongdoers who are violating crimes, or committing crimes, violating the law, we will prosecute them. And when we find other areas where nothing was done wrong, there were no crimes committed, we will announce that to the public so that we can build confidence in our systems. The other important point is California is anything but compliant with elections laws, whether it's federal, which is why I filed a lawsuit on behalf of the Department of Justice against California last year, or state. There's a whole body, it's called the Elections Code, State Elections Code. This whole body of law that is designed to ensure election integrity. And we've got registrar of voters and we've got county clerks that don't even follow state elections laws. So there's a whole lot. And why don't they do that? Because of attorney generals like Rob Bonta, who do not enforce the law. He is not bird dogging this stuff. He is supposed to be the watchdog and ensure compliance with laws, and he's just simply not doing it. He's looking the other way. So we've had, more or less 16 years of one-party rule here in California. There's no checks and balances. Nobody's keeping the other person honest at their highest levels of government. And so you have lawlessness running rampant throughout the state of California. So that's what's got to change. I mean, I'm basically presenting myself to the voting public as the law and order candidate. I'm going to be the one who enforces the laws, who ensures election integrity, and returns California to a law and order state.
So that's exactly what I was about to ask is unlike maybe someone that's running for state assembly as a Republican or for state Senate or any of these other races where the voters have to choose a Republican or Democrat, with yours, it's kind of like a bipartisan seat, right? Where it's attorney generals just focus on law and order. What is it, I guess, for the people maybe tuning in that don't know, what does an attorney general do? I know you kind of listed a couple of things, but what other things can you do to help maybe even like the attorney general here in Los Angeles kind of get more like behind like their initiatives?
Yeah, so it's a great question. The attorney general in the state of California has a lot of responsibility. Under the California Constitution, the attorney general is charged with a lot. First of all, the attorney general is the chief legal counsel for all executive offices in the state government. So I'm legal counsel for the governor, for the legislature, for the secretary of state, and the list goes on and on and on. In addition to that, I'm also the top cop. So I'm the top prosecutor. I'm the top law enforcement officer in the state of California. And underneath me is all 58 counties law enforcement agencies. So I have purview over all 58 district attorneys' offices. And all 58 sheriff's departments. So I literally have all of the resources available to me to be cracking down on crime. So I was the city attorney of Huntington Beach for 10 years. We made Huntington Beach one of the safest cities in the state of California because we were no nonsense, tough on crime, and we had no exceptions, no excuses. We were tough on crime. And so it's one of the safest cities in the state of California out of nearly 500 cities. So that's a pretty elite class of safe cities to be one of the safest out of nearly 500.
I remember, I think back in like 2020 when the BLM riots were kind of taking place, I think they tried to go to Huntington and Huntington was like, not here.
Yeah, and you may know Tito Ortiz. He's a local Huntington Beach boy, and he literally went out there and called out a bunch of his friends and buddies, and actually a lot of residents, Huntington Beach residents, because here's the thing, and I was the city attorney at the time, so we saw sort of the intelligence gathering leading up to those riots, right? Yeah. So I got to see from what our police were supplying us and providing us in terms of their investigation, what people were saying on social media. And so a couple days before the conflict, so to speak, or the BLM riots in the streets, we learned from social media chatter and other internet chatter that they were bringing cinder blocks, that they were bringing, weapons, right? And they were staging and they were going to come into Huntington Beach. And so the word got out, and then Huntington Beach is awesome. Like, there's so many patriots there. So many people love the city. It's a large city, the 23rd largest city out of nearly 500 in the state, and it's got 200,000 residents. So the residents came out of the woodwork, went downtown, boarded up the shops, boarded up the stores and the businesses, and actually took to the streets. And so when Antifa, it was really more Antifa than BLM, but when Antifa came down and they wanted to do some damage. They were met with hundreds of people in the street. Tito Ortiz was on the front lines, and then actually Antifa, they recognized him, and they were started to come up and be, bro, are you Tito Ortiz? So we totally with that show of force from Huntington Beach, from that grassroots show of force from Huntington Beach, Antifa stood down, and they were there for like an hour or two, and then they just went home. Literally, we defended our turf, so to speak. We didn't just leave it up to the police. The residents, like I said, were downtown, flooding the downtown area in the streets. And again, Tito Ortiz was on the front lines there. Funny story. I actually wrestled with Tito Ortiz in high school. He went to Huntington High School and I went to Marina High School. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. We've been friends. We've been friends since like 1990 something, like early 90s. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Tito's super cool. Huntington Beach, like I said, but he was the one that sort of, led the resistance and defended our turf. And it was super cool, man. Like, there was so much pride there. Just seeing the Antifa folks like scatter and go home, like no damage, like not a single window was broken, like literally nothing, like zero conflict. And that's because Huntington Beach stood up for itself.
So what I'm hearing is if he wins, there's state-sanctioned militias that will be allowed. He's just going to roll them out. He's like, where's the conflict? We're sending about 500 patriots. No, but with that, what's very interesting, and as independent journalists, him and I go way back in covering riots and protests. One of the things that we've all been talking about as journalists across the nation is it's technically riot season right now, but there's no riots. Remember last year, LA was hit pretty hard with these anti-ICE protests and all that stuff. You had the Molotov cocktails being thrown at police. I think, and maybe you can speak on this, and maybe you can go into like some of the policies you go into. I think a lot of this started to dwindle down when Bill Asaley came in with the federal government, but specifically I think it was the IRS agents. And he's like, we're not just going to investigate these protesters. We're going to start finding out where's the money coming from. And I remember that like some of the local news was like this truck just showed up and they just delivered a bunch of shields and masks. And when they started arresting those people and they found out where the funding was coming from, all of a sudden the protests are gone.
Yeah.
Do you think that is that
Yes.
maybe what the Trump administration is doing differently? Is they're coming after the finance behind all of this?
Yeah, and when we're looking at it from more or less a RICO type of issue with the sort of like organized funding of all this. But Bill Asaley absolutely did set the right tone. He did a great job last year. And so, that's a perfect example, a perfect segue into another thing that the Attorney General can do. I can make sure that we've got law and order in our streets too, and that these types of riots and protests where you've got hundreds or thousands of people flooding the streets and shutting down freeways, that doesn't exist. Look, I've litigated First Amendment stuff for years. Like I've been in the courtroom. I'm a real lawyer. I've done First Amendment. I've done a whole bunch of other things too, election integrity and fighting crime and so on and so forth. First Amendment does not mean you can go in the street and break stuff, right? Like that's crimes. Like you literally can take a sign and you can stand on a sidewalk peacefully, or you can go into a park or some other open public space and exercise your First Amendment rights. But the minute you step foot in the street and shut down traffic or you shut down a freeway, that's a crime. You're going to be arrested. And so I have already been saying this on the campaign trail. Like, look, we're going to return law and order to the state of California. We're going to make sure that every business district and every neighborhood is safe. And that means that, yes, when people want to exercise their First Amendment rights, they have to do it in the right areas and not commit crimes. Once you start committing crimes, we're going to start arresting. What we have had in the past is all this like soft on crime. And then the leaders like Karen Bass and others in LA, they say, well, they're exercising their First Amendment right. No, she's lying to you. She's lying to you. They're not exercising their First Amendment right. They're committing crimes and she's allowing it. And so that's the difference. We are going to be tough on crime. We're not going to allow that kind of thing. And even if a city doesn't go along with our vision of criminal law enforcement, I've got sheriffs at my disposal. Like I said, I've got all 58 counties, all 58 sheriff's departments. And so if we have to go in and use the sheriffs to enforce the law and make sure that our district attorneys are prosecuting all these crimes, that is all under my purview and within my control. So we're going to make it happen. And I can absolutely guarantee you my highest priority is to return our neighborhoods to safety. We're going to reduce violent crime. Look, there's young prostitutes on our street right now. I don't know if you know this, but like maybe you do, but like LA, Oakland, you literally in broad daylight can go down to some of the most troubled areas of the city and actually see young girls, younger than 18, like younger than 16, prostituting themselves in broad daylight at the hands of human traffickers. And it's like literally it happens in broad daylight. I mean, Steve Hilton had a press conference one time in downtown LA, and I think this was like 4 or 5 months ago, and he was doing a press conference and there were young girls walking across the street behind him right there on camera. And so there is so much that's been allowed to happen. I was on Skid Row. I went and visited Skid Row a couple days ago and just, interviewed some people, talked to some people on the street, got some footage. And it's shocking what has been allowed to happen in California. Absolutely shocking. But it's because of the lawlessness. It's because of the disorder. And it's because of our leaders in California. Our Attorney General, it starts with him and stops with him, right? Turning California around starts with the Attorney General. But when it comes to public safety, he's ultimately responsible. So the buck stops with him. So he's a bad actor. He's not a real lawyer. He did go to law school, but he's just been acting like a career politician ever since he's been in office. And it's so sad to me because there is so much suffering in California because of that. He has caused so much suffering in California. So many of our young girls, so many of our families, so many people, our elderly, are suffering in California because of the lawlessness in California.
Actually, Anthony, from this studio, I don't think we're too far from Figueroa, which is like probably one of like the sex trafficking haven of Los Angeles. How do you even solve that? I know it sounds like a simple issue, but I've been, I think even in San Diego, I was watching some reports out of San Diego, they're dealing with the same thing too, like that just out in daytime prostitution. Yeah. In San Diego, I believe it was Chula Vista, they were having the issue where the prostitution was happening right near a school. How does one come in as AG and just say, we could put a stop to it? It seems like local law enforcement, their hands are tied behind their back, LAPD here.
But also real quick, secondly, once you answer that is, why do you think it's allowed? Yeah. Why hasn't it been stopped? Right. I would think that an attorney general that finds out there's 14-year-olds out there, they would be like, dude, we got to stop whatever we're doing tomorrow when we come in, and we need to make this priority. Why do you think these people just let it happen as well?
Well, it's hard to say. It's a lot of hard work, frankly. California is a big state, 482 cities, 58 counties. There's a lot of work to do here. There's a lot of things that are wrong. And when you commit to rolling up your sleeves and solving these problems, it's a whole lot of work. And most people just don't want to put that kind of work into it. Rob Bonta's been in office looking the other way for the past 5 years. By the way, he was appointed as our Attorney General. But Jorge, to answer your question, I mean, it's really, I think there's a culture, when I say lawlessness, I mean there's a culture of lawlessness as well as the fact that they're just soft on enforcement as a matter of fact. So there's a lack of enforcement, but then there's sort of a culture of, well, we'll just let the crime continue. We'll look the other way. We'll just allow it. And when I'm Attorney General, we're going to be tough on crime. Like I said, I'm going to have purview over all 58 district attorneys' offices, and I'm going to shape them up. We are going to have prosecutors going to court and getting stiff sentences, getting stiff penalties against criminals in order to hold them accountable. When you do that enough, and when you have that sort of pervasive perspective on how you should treat law enforcement and how you should fight crime, then you start to change the culture too. So we're going to put a lot of pressure because, look, let me tell you something. If every other of the 482 cities in the state of California increases its public safety, increases its law enforcement presence, increases its criminal prosecution, and becomes safer as a result, Los Angeles will suddenly start getting in line too, because they're going to be the only ones that are standing out, not getting into line, right? So there's a little bit of a cultural shift that we need to create and to foster, that we become a law and order state again. And so, but it starts at the top. I've got my 58 district attorneys' offices and all of their prosecutors. I've got the 58 sheriff's departments and all of their sheriffs. I have those resources, and we are going to make it happen. It's going to take a little bit of time, but we are going to make it happen. We're going to make our neighborhoods safe again. I promise you.
Real quick, before we do have some people asking questions in the comments, but one of my questions for you, maybe going back a little bit, is what did you think about the ruling by SCOTUS on the mail-in ballots?
So based on the arguments that were presented before the Supreme Court on that issue, I thought they were going to rule differently. But here's the thing in California. So I think the Supreme Court was presented with a certain case out of Mississippi that basically said, like, look, if a state receives a ballot that's postmarked for the date of the election or before, but received after, can it be counted? And the Supreme Court's like, yeah, why wouldn't it? If it's postmarked and received by election day, or postmarked by election day, but received later or counted later, yeah, it should be counted. Like every vote counts. Like I think, that's their mindset. But what we have here in California is it actually doesn't have to be postmarked officially.
Right.
You literally can write the date in by hand.
Yep.
Which means you can backdate the ballots. So
I didn't even know that.
That's the real problem.
Insane, bro.
That's the real problem. So, like, quite literally, the Supreme Court ruling is very, very bad for California because it encourages this late submission of ballots, even tardy submission of ballots, right? And then they're by, according to the U.S. Supreme Court ruling, they can continue to count them. And if they're not properly officially postmarked by the Postal Service, you can write in a date. So you can literally backdate. That's the danger. But that's why we need a new attorney general, right? Like, you need somebody who's going to enforce the law and interpret the law to make sure that we have integrity. We have an attorney general right now. He doesn't even enforce Prop 36. Prop 36 is the law of the land. It's like literally the law of the land. It's like our law. It's the law, but he's not enforcing it. So when you have somebody like that, he doesn't care about election integrity. Look, today we learned that he changed the ballot title for the voter ID initiative that's going to be on the November ballot. And it basically says something like, I forget the wording exactly, but it basically says it prevents citizens from voting unless they show an ID, right? So the first three words are prevents citizens from voting.
Yep.
And it's just like, this guy is terrible, right?
Yeah.
He's misleading people, trying to scare them because he hates election integrity measures. He hates voter ID. Huntington Beach had voter ID, a local voter ID law. I was the architect of that law. I drafted it. Council adopted it, put it before the voters. They approved it. So it became Huntington Beach's law of the land, right? Bonta came down to Huntington Beach and sued us over voter ID there.
Yeah, I was going to say
we just read that story here like a week and a half ago.
He's a bad dude, man. I mean, like, literally, he literally does not. He's fighting the law. He's fighting election integrity. I mean, it's shocking.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of top attorney does that?
And what's crazy to me is that it's Democrats that support these kind of rulings, these kind of shenanigans, and then they sit there and have the audacity to look at us Republicans and say, you guys are the tyrants. We're marching for no kings, but you guys are the tyrants. You guys are the ones that the fascism, this, that. And I'm like, dude, literally take a look at your state legislators. Take a look at what these people are doing and they're trying to pass and what they're fighting against. And you want to see, that's why I'm just like, dude, at least be honest with yourself about who the real tyrants are. These people, like, I read the Huntington Beach stuff and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, it's just...
And the Stop Nick Shirley Act.
Yes.
The Stop Nick Shirley Act. So Rob Bonta's wife, Mia Bonta, is a legislator. Excuse me. She's the one that sponsored that bill through the legislature. It's getting approved. It's probably going to become law. The Stop Nick Shirley Act is literally an attack on our First Amendment rights.
Yeah.
It's like literally an attack on our First Amendment rights. And they're all sanctioning it. Like it's fine. Nothing to see here. You know, we're going to attack First Amendment rights of everyday Californians. Nothing to see here. Our Attorney General is allowing it. I've told people on the campaign trail, when I'm Attorney General, I'm going to stop the Stop Nick Shirley Act because I'm going to refuse to enforce it. I'm going to exercise my discretion, which I'm allowed to have as the Attorney General, exercise my prosecutorial discretion to not enforce the Stop Nick Shirley Act, because doing so, in enforcing that law, I'd be violating the First Amendment rights of my citizens. I'm not doing that, right? Yeah. And I don't have to do that. They can't make me do that. The legislature can't make me do that. The governor can't make me do that. We're going to honor and respect. We're going to honor and respect the federal laws, including the U.S. Constitution, First Amendment rights, and I am not going to enforce a law that violates the constitutional rights of my citizens.
You're actually,
as a reporter, I like that.
I was about to say,
really quick though.
You're kind of like a loophole. Like you're kind of like a loophole in the system, because I'll be honest, a lot of like one of the problems that we run into with like some of the state people running for state assembly, state senate, is even if they make it, like there's a Democratic supermajority at the legislature that it's like, even if you get in, your bills are probably not going to pass. But with you, you're kind of the enforcer. So you can be like, look, I don't want to get sued, because we're infringing on people's First Amendment. So we're just going to go ahead and not. Interesting.
There's a ton of independent authority that the Attorney General has. Everything that I'm going to do on day one, including the Stop Nick Shirley Act, all of this stuff I can do without the approval or support of the governor or the legislature. Like I'm literally on a bit of an island of my own, where I am the top law enforcement officer, an officer of the court too, by the way. I'm an experienced trial attorney. I owe my duty to the bar, the State Bar of California, and to the people of California, not to the governor and not to the legislature.
What about on that note for journalists, for example? I've worked with James O'Keefe and a lot of private investigators or just investigative reporters have tried to come to California to try to get people undercover, admitting to whether it's like doing the illegal SNAP stuff or they're giving it to the wrongful people or people incarcerated, whatever it may be. Journalists don't feel protected because Democrats continue to infringe on our rights, but also there's that two-party consent thing and stuff like that. So one of the things that I've always asked of legislators or people that are running as legislators, is there a way to carve out a section to protect journalists on an investigative like journalism piece? Because I feel like people like James O'Keefe, if they want to come and really start, because the reality is this, the Democrats are too smart. And now that James O'Keefe has come to LA and uncovered a lot of the voting fraud, they're going to double down on protections for themselves. They're like, hey, they were able to catch us slipping because they did it in public. But they know that they can't come into a facility and record here because of our two-party consent. Is there a way to carve something out like that? Is there something you could do, or is that just strictly legislation that would have to be enforced?
When it runs up against First Amendment rights, then I can step in and weigh in and refuse to prosecute in certain instances. But we have the legislature that is writing bad laws. When the legislature writes bad laws and they're violative of federal laws, then I can talk to the governor about suspending enforcement of those state laws that violate federal law, right? But then there are state laws that may just be offensive to us, but they don't violate federal law, right? They don't violate the First Amendment. And in that case, we need to get the people to put pressure on the legislature to just make those policies less offensive. So it just sort of depends on the law, and it depends on the circumstances.
Because if we can get,
I want to read a chat really quick.
I was just gonna say, like, if we can just get 10 investigative reporters to start flooding, I feel like that's when we'll really start uncovering a lot of.
Well, we need James O'Keefe to send like a good looking guy to go on a date with Newsom.
Just James O'Keefe in a wig,
with Newsom in West Hollywood.
Yeah,
we got TB. We got a chat coming in. TBW Studio says Mr. Gates is indeed a far more intelligent person than Rob Bonita.
Oh, I like that. He has my vote. Okay, there we go.
We got a lot more coming here, dude. That was always, I was always interested in that. Yeah, the Stop Nick shirt. I think, at least for us here, Michael in LA, I think one thing that kind of threw everyone off when it comes to that June primary was. We all know, like, it sounded like that first night where Nithya Raman did the concession speech and she was crying. And then one thing that we kind of learned that, like, DSA does is they watch the polling to the very end. And if their candidate is not going to break through, they'll coordinate. And maybe this is where they're doing the back with the postmark and the ballots. And that's still also unfair to voters, right? But it's a legal system right now.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about that? Like the whole report that Nithya Raman was down, and that DSA was so well coordinated that they coordinated 40,000 voters to hold off on their ballot to the night of the election. Yeah. Do you buy that story? I'm finding it very hard to believe.
I don't buy it. But what I think, it's really simple for somebody who is the attorney general. Like, look, just investigate. Like, literally just investigate, because there are so many things that are wrong with it, whether it's the people on camera who were paid to vote for certain candidates like Karen Bass or Raman or whoever. There's issues like that. But then also the statistical improbability of Raman's vote count shooting up, 3 or 4 days after the election day, while at the same time, Spencer Pratt's went down slightly, right? And then Karen Bass is flatlined. So wait a second. So Raman's is the only one that skyrocketed within 4 or 5 days after election day?
Bass completely flatlined.
Like, that's like crazy, right? So the point is like, investigate what happened. Just investigate. And then that way you build confidence in the system for the American people, for the Los Angelinos. I mean, you've got to build confidence in the system. So investigate.
Yeah. We do have another question here. This is Beauty and Wellness. Marissa says, what are changes you would make as Attorney General to the mental health diversion law here in California?
So the mental health diversion right now is any of these types of programs let's just face it, they get abused, right? Like, they're abused. And so oftentimes these diversionary programs are used to basically be an excuse to not hold people accountable, right? And so we're first and foremost, we're going to be holding people accountable. We're going to be tough on crime, tough on the law, and we are going to go into court and we're going to get penalties for criminals who have committed violent crime or whatever the issue is. When diversionary programs are applicable and they're appropriate, we will pursue those, but we're not going to let those be so abused and overused that then we don't end up holding people accountable. So it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. There's value to them. They're necessary, but they can't be overused and abused and avoid accountability.
We do have, all right, there goes that answer, Ms. Marissa, so hopefully that was satisfactory. But we have another one. TBWY Studio says, future Attorney General Gates, I'm a sports guy. How will you handle the safety for the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles?
Well, I'm a sports guy too. And that's a good question, because that's obviously a very, very large issue, meaning regionally on a big scale, because there's a lot of cities that are going to be impacted by the Olympics. And right now we have an attorney general who's asleep at the switch. All he's concerned about is suing Paramount to try to stop a merger. He's interested in suing, it seems, only the Trump administration to try to score political points. He's not interested in the rule of law here in California and law and order. I think the answer is pretty easy. It may be kind of boring, but I have the district attorneys and the sheriff's departments again. And I'm going to use those resources to make sure that our streets are safe. Our streets will be safe 1,000%. I guarantee it. And then in addition to that, if we have a supportive governor, supportive meaning supportive of the rule of law and law and order, then he can obviously send out state troopers to try to just help maintain peace, law and order in the streets. So that's what we can do from a law enforcement perspective. Obviously, we can't control Karen Bass and her decision-making at the local level, but we can do everything that we can from the state level and from the county level, because counties are a subdivision of state, and I have purview over, again, Los Angeles County Sheriff and then the district attorney, make sure that we maintain law and order in the cities and in the counties.
As a follow-up, there was that report earlier this year in which apparently law enforcement was sent out like a memo talking about how they had credible intel in that Iran was potentially looking at SoCal as a prime target of some kind of disaster. Apparently, they were looking at maybe it was like up a shipping container for natural water. Did you read that? How much credibility? Because there were some people that were concerned, and then there was a second report, I think in the same week, where there was like that nuclear plane or that plane that's able to sniff like the nuclear. And so people were like, "What's going on in California? Should we be worried?" You know?
Well, so I read those reports. I'm familiar with the stories. What I would say too is that's why it's so important to have good leaders in office, because like I said it before and I'll say it again. It applies here too. Rob Bonta's asleep at the switch, and he's literally completely unprepared for any type of incident, right? A large scale incident. And we know this because not only for his record, like there's like lawlessness in California, crime. I don't know if you guys know this, but California is one of the most dangerous states to live in. Did you know that? Out of 50 states, California is one of the most dangerous. According to FBI data, California ranks 6th highest in crime in the nation. And then if you look at the 2026 Consumer Affairs report that just came out, it says that California is the 2nd most dangerous state to live in. So he's completely asleep at the switch on fighting crime and maintaining law and order on the one hand. On the other hand, what's he doing when you need, in a situation like you just mentioned, when you need good federal agency cooperation? What is he doing? He's suing the Trump administration. He's suing the federal government left and right. What we need to do is work with the federal government. We need to work with our county and local officials to make sure that we have law and order covered, comprehensive plan, comprehensive approach to law and order throughout the state of California, and work with the federal government on this kind of stuff to keep us safe. Because, like I said, Rob Bonta's asleep at the switch, and then when he's awake, he's fighting the Trump administration, fighting the federal government. That's not good for keeping Californians safe, especially if there's an attack off of our shores or anything that threatens our society here in California on a large scale.
I think we got a little bit of fake news going on because he's saying California is very dangerous, but Mayor Bass and Newsom are saying, hey, everything's fine. Mis amigos. It's okay. Take your familia out to the parks.
Es muy peligroso.
Michael, I'm surprised. Michael,
Muy
surprised.
peligroso.
I'm surprised you didn't get stabbed on the way to our studio.
When you were pulling up, dude, is this a
50
trap?
fentanyl needles on our way to this beautiful studio.
Yeah, this is how they get me. This is how they get me. This is how it all goes down.
I mean, we're literally in one of the most dangerous parts of downtown LA.
It's pretty bad. Well, we did it on purpose. No one would ever think that there's like a conservative spot right here. They're like, oh, that place? Nah, it's like half defecated. Don't go down that alley over there.
Michael, I did just want to ask, just because for me reporting all the years, it's a simple question, but when you're meeting with law enforcement all across the state, like, is there like a number one complaint that they have for you? Is there like, and I say this because when I'm in Northern California, a big issue, at least for them, is the whole issue of foreign organized crime and illegal marijuana and water theft and all those issues. So when I speak to the sheriffs there, they just feel like they don't have Sacramento's ear at all. Like they just can't get Sacramento to look at those counties. Maybe because they vote under direction. But I mean, when you're meeting with law enforcement, either from down to San Diego all the way to NorCal, what's maybe their top issues for sheriffs? So, and they know they're talking to the attorney general candidate, right? Mm-hmm. So they're obviously, their concern, what they expressed to me is that there is just no support for what they're doing coming from Sacramento. They get no backup, they get no support, they get no defense. In fact, Rob Bonta views our sheriffs and our sheriff's department and all law enforcement with suspicion. He views them, and I won't say as the enemy. I have said that he's an enemy of public safety and he's an enemy of law enforcement, but he views them with great suspiciousness, like great suspicion, right? Like he does not view them as an ally or a partner in law enforcement. He thinks he just assumes cops are bad, that they're up to no good. And so they feel that. And they're like, Michael, like our attorney general
is like the worst of the worst. Not only, I mean, they call him a criminal and all the bad stuff, right? These are like, seasoned law enforcement calling him a criminal, right? Like, so they say that's their opinion. But he's obviously, has his connections with corruption and bribery schemes that he's being questioned about and pay to play and all this stuff. So he's got his own issues, his own, as I say, he's running from the law in his own right. And they just see him with like contempt, disdain. They don't respect him because he has always attacked them. Even when he was in the legislature for the 10 years before he was attorney general, he was trying to push for laws and for reforms that undermined law enforcement, right? So he's never been friendly to law enforcement, never been a friend of public safety. And so they feel betrayed. They feel undermined and betrayed by Rob Bonta and by Sacramento. So they're very frustrated, which is why Chad Bianco came out and endorsed me as well. I don't know if you heard some of the remarks that he made when he endorsed me, but he basically said Rob Bonta is a disaster. He has been hurting law enforcement. He has been hurting public safety, and basically saying that hey, Californians, if you're a victim of crime, it's Rob Bonta's fault. We're trying to do our job, but he's not helping us. He's not supporting us. He's not backing us up. He's not defending us. And Michael Gates is the answer. Like, Michael Gates is going to be there for law enforcement. I spent my career not only fighting crime and, like I said, making Huntington Beach one of the safest cities in the state, but also all of my trials that I talk about from my past, my legal career, most of those were in defense of cops in court. So when they were sued for doing their job, I would go to court and take their cases to trial. I was not settling those cases. So I've tried many multi-million-dollar cases in court as a trial attorney on behalf of law enforcement, both the Orange County Sheriff's Department and also the Huntington Beach Police Department. So got a long career of defending cops.
Yeah, I was up in Northern California. They have a bunch of huge issues, and I think people forget how big California is, because some of those counties are literally big as Rhode Island, but they'll have 2 sheriff deputies for the entire county.
Right.
And just the number one complaint I always got in NorCal was we just can't get Sacramento to pay attention to us. Maybe because we're not a major city, we don't have the votes, but they always felt just completely left out. And it's like, you can't forget about they're Californians too, we care about them and the farmers.
Yeah, and I've told all my law enforcement agencies that I've met with, I've been up and down the state of California in various counties, and I said, like, look, when I'm the attorney general, I am going to be coming to your county. I'm going to be sitting with your sheriffs. I'm going to be sitting with your district attorneys. I'm going to be out there in the field with everyday Californians and with law enforcement. I'm going to be up and down the state of California. So nobody will be forgotten about. Everybody's going to be supported. We're going to be friends to law enforcement throughout the state of California. And that's how you build a coalition to return California to a law and order state.
So we did have a quick follow-up from Beauty and Wellness. She was the one that asked on the mental health diversion. She said, "Thank you for the response. My nephew's murderer is trying to use mental health diversion to get out of being on trial for a Watson murder.
What she asked.
That's what I told
Derek
you.
Wade Pierce versus the people, Los Angeles County."
Yep.
So again, I mean, this is like the number one thing is
That's what I told
people
you.
are looking for law and order. It's just really disgusting what's happening. We did have.
Well, let me tell you something else too.
Sure, go ahead.
So victims, I've been talking to a lot of victims of crime, just like this story right there. I've been talking to a lot of victims of crime, and they say, look, there's actually a system set up in California. There's tens of millions of dollars each year that has been devoted by the taxpayer through our government, obviously, to victims' compensation funds, right? And so there are victims' compensation funds out there that if you're a victim of crime, rape, attempted murder, whatever, you actually can go and make a claim to get some funds. Why? Because the state, in its wisdom, said that, look, victims of serious crime, they actually need help financially to kind of restart their lives, right?
I completely agree with this.
Which is great.
Yep.
Like I'm a small government guy, but when it comes to government programs, like I totally believe in this one. I totally support it. And what's happening is over the past couple decades, especially in recent years, those victims' compensation funds have not only ballooned because they're not paying out claims, they're denying claims, even if they're legitimate claims for recovery. Our government is denying those claims. The Victims' Compensation Fund balloons, and then they find that it gets robbed. Like somebody's coming in and taking the money out from those funds. So quite literally, the taxpayer dollars that we have committed to helping victims, that money is supposed to be allocated to victims. Victims are supposed to be able to go to their local jurisdiction, to their district attorney's office, apply for funding for some recompense. Their claims are denied routinely, and they never get money. So then they're re-victimized, right? And then we find that money is stolen from the fund. So it's just shocking that we, do not do much in California, at least through Attorney General Rob Bonta and our law enforcement. We do not do much to protect everyday Californians from becoming victims. And then when they do end up victims, our system re-victimizes them and makes them suffer even more. So we've got to turn all of that around, and we've got to come to the aid of victims. We have got to advocate for them. We have to get them the compensation and the recompense that they deserve, frankly, that the taxpayers have offered to them. And so that's just a passion of mine. I just felt it was important to mention it, particularly because of the story that you just mentioned there.
Yeah.
We have got to take care of our victims, but then we've got to take care of our everyday Californians and prevent them from becoming victims.
Yeah. So real quick, guys, we do have a huge super chat for tonight donation. This is Red Bears with a $200 to the live stream. Thank you so much, brother. This is for the Americanos Podcast. They can help change California. Guys, every donation, every time you guys join the channel, this is what you're helping us build. We are building a platform for independent thinking, independent reporting. We don't have any donors. We don't have any sponsors. It's just all funded by you. This is a project that is near and dear to us. You guys know me and Jorge. We go way back many, many years, just trying to get you guys the news. And we're trying to have people here like Michael Gates, who we truly believe in his campaign. And it's so important to get involved in his campaign and in these races and to share this information with our abuelitos and our abuelitas and our tios and our tias, because they need to know these stories. Look, we have people in our chat that are directly impacted by a position like his, that if he comes in, California will change for the better. I'll be honest, I didn't know that he was technically like a loophole. If Democrats want to pass this egregious laws, he can say, we're not going to go ahead and penalize the journalists that are coming in and reporting on this mass fraud system. We're not going to go after and infringe on people's First Amendment. And that's why it's so important to us here at Americanos Podcast to have people like him, to bring in these candidates so you guys can hear directly from them and have you guys interact and ask the questions. So again, thank you, Red Bears, and to everybody that's become a member. If you guys are not yet a member of our channel, please consider joining. It's just $4.99 a month, and you guys can help us immensely. But I did see another question on here for you, in which they were asking, I didn't get to see who asked the question, but they were asking about that sewage pipe that's coming off of San Diego. I guess it's dropping like raw sewage into California. Is this within your scope? Is this something that you can kind of address and be like, hey, maybe we need to launch an investigation down there? Or
yeah, it needs. I know of it. I've heard about it. I've read about it. It needs to be investigated 1,000%. And this is the kind of thing, this is like another wart on the face of California, right? Like this is just another wart, just like Skid Row, right? Like we have these problems. They're isolated in a way, but they're easily identifiable and frankly easily solvable. But we just frankly do nothing about it. And so this sewage has been going on for some time now. This is not breaking news. This has been around for some time, right? And so
Rob won't address this at all. He won't.
And you know why? This is what I say to people. People say, well, why does this happen? Why does Skid Row happen? Why does the sewage happen? Why do young minor prostitution happen? Because Rob Bonta, the leaders in Sacramento, are elitists, and they just do not care about everyday Californians. They just don't care. If they cared, we couldn't possibly have these things that we're seeing on Skid Row, and then the sewage spill down. I think it's in or near the Tijuana River, right? So, like, they have contempt for us. They do not care about us, and then that's why I'm running for Attorney General. I'm just an everyday Californian. I'm not a career politician. I've been blessed with a family, married almost 30 years, got 5 children and 4 grandchildren, but I've also been blessed with my legal career. Like, I have done so many remarkable things in my legal career. It would, like most attorneys would envy the type of experiences that I've had. It's just been incredible, remarkable. I'm even a member of the United States Supreme Court Bar. So if called upon to argue a case in Washington, D.C. tomorrow, I could fly back and appear before the U.S. Supreme Court and make argument. I'm even certified there as a member of the bar. Like, so I've been so incredibly blessed, and I pray a lot about this, and I just really believe that God is like, look, I brought you down this crooked path of your career and your life because I want you here to fight this fight right now. We've got to rescue California. I do believe this. I believe that, in a lot of ways, there's a spiritual battle for California right now. Like things are so dark right now.
You're speaking this guy's language
You're-
right
you're-
here. This guy's
you're-
getting fired. He's going to run through these cameras
The
right
Holy
now.
Spirit
Yeah.
is telling me to say Donald Trump replace Amy Coney Barrett with this man right here.
But
He would have ruled right. on SCOTUS.
There's such an incredible opportunity right now, and I believe that frankly, I don't mean to sound arrogant. I say it humbly that like I am the right guy for this challenge right now. I am the right guy to be challenging Bonta, and God willing, I get elected. I'm the right guy to try to help turn California around.
I love this.
And we're gonna, guys, look, the benefit of all of this, getting back to law and order, people are going to suffer less. There will be less suffering. Like the people down at the sewage spill, like there's real suffering there right now.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
toxic.
Yeah.
That's toxic.
Who wants their kids around
They
that
can't
stuff?
even drink the water or smell the air without getting sick, right?
Yeah.
Like that's toxic. And then Skid Row, it's dangerous, right? And our young people prostituting on the streets, dangerous. There's real suffering in California. We've got to reduce the suffering. We've got to eliminate the suffering if we can by getting our state back to a law and order state. And I will tell you something too. The Latino community suffers the most.
Yep.
And even the Black community and some of the Asian communities.
I was gonna say, Michael, everything that you're saying, and this is something that progressives don't get, is the majority of suffering is Black and brown people here, working class, and the Democrats that get elected, they don't even represent. They don't even care. You think Newsom cares that a single mom Hispanic has to take like 3 buses to work and dodging homeless and crime, and it's
and
crazy.
if you follow me, excuse me, on social media, I've actually put out some videos in Spanish. And I speak directly to the Latino community, excuse me. And I say, like, look, the Latino community está sufriendo mucho in California. Like they're suffering a lot in California. Why?
Yeah.
Because their neighborhoods are the ones with the high crime, like really high crime. The violent crime that we hear about, they live it.
Yep.
Like it's on their streets. They've got their abuelitas that are afraid to leave their home, right? They don't even want to leave. They don't want to go out. And that is not freedom. That's not the American dream.
Dude.
Setting aside the bad hombres, right? Most Latinos are here because they want the American dream. They just want their kids to get educated in a good school system. Yep. They want their kids to be safe while they're in school. They want their families to be safe. They want to be able to walk down the street to go to church, to go to the park, to go to the market. And they want to build their business if they can, right? That's all they want. That's
the American
all
dream.
they want. It's not a lot. It's just we want a little piece of the American dream. And what happens? The elitists in Sacramento, they allow this lawlessness in California, and then these Latinos are robbed of that opportunity. They're totally robbed of that. And it's just disgusting to me. It's totally unjust. It is absolutely anti-American. And so, like I said, the Latino community está sufriendo mucho in California, in large part because of Rob Bonta, right, our Attorney General. And I also say, the Latino community, la comunidad latina puede rescatar California. Like they can rescue California if they see what's going on and they look at what, like this office of the Fiscal General, right? They look at the office and they see like Rob Bonta is bad, Gates is good, and then they go for like something different, right? Like let's get new leadership in there. And if and that's why I'm going to be doing a series of town halls in LA in Spanish. Like I'm going to be going out and specifically geared to the Latino community and just talking to them about these everyday issues and say like, look, if we get new leadership, if you vote for liderazgo nuevo in California, we can turn California around. You, the Latino community, can rescue California alone. Just you alone. If enough of the Latinos wake up and say, like, look, what's happening in California is no good. We want new leadership. If they do that, we can flip California.
And just game over.
Yeah.
Just give it a chance.
But we got to get the Latinos are 40% of the vote in LA. Did you know that?
Oh, and we're growing.
Latinos are 40% of the vote in LA. That's incredible, right? That's a lot of voters.
Yeah, I mean, so we are. If you want to wrap it up, just we got on that 45-minute mark, but
well, really quick, Michael, one of my buddies just entered the super chat, and he lives in Huntington Beach currently. I think he wants you back because he says I preferred his hard work in HB. At least he had the balls to challenge corrupt state government. There you go. So my friend Curtis wants you back in HB.
Yeah. So just real quick,
we want him in Sacramento.
Obviously, we want to thank you for your time. You're more than welcome here. Yeah. I mean, you've got my full endorsement. You know, like we need you as Attorney General. But
We
where
gotta
can
throw
people?
Michael like a carne asada in LA.
Well, when
We
you have
gotta
those,
do-
when,
Perfecto.
when you
Yeah.
have those town halls, please let us know.
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
we would love
Okay.
to report on that
Okay.
live. Also share it on social media so that we can get
Yeah.
the Latinos out there and
Yeah.
stuff. But where can people find you? How can they get involved with your campaign? How can they donate?
Yeah.
What's a good website for
So
you?
gates4ag.com is the website, gates4ag.com. And if you want to read my website in Spanish, we have a Spanish version there as well. But then also on social media, michael.e.gates on Instagram. That's michael.e.gates on Instagram. On X, it's Michael Gates ESQ. Facebook, you can search and find me. So I'm all over the place. If you can follow my accounts and interact with my accounts and repost and then ask your followers to follow me and grow the accounts, that's how we're going to help get the word out as well. So I appreciate your support, guys. It means a lot to me. And I really believe that if you keep beating this drum and help getting the word out, we can rescue California.
Absolutely.
It's in
Yes, sir.
crisis right now. This is the time. 65 for the audience who's thinking things are never going to change. Remember this: 65% of respondents to polls say that California is headed in the wrong direction. That means Democrats, independents, and Republicans alike all agree that California is headed in the wrong direction. When you have that many people, 65% believing that California is headed in the wrong direction, they will make a change. They can make a change. But it's up to us. It's up to you guys. It's up to all of us to get the word out and to build a coalition and to actually make that change. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for having me. I will absolutely be back. And you will be invited. We will be invited to every single one of our 12 town halls. It's going to be
Awesome.
It's going to be Latino only, and I may have
go.
Tito Ortiz as a special guest.
Let's go.
To join me. But we absolutely want to connect with the Latino community for sure.
Well, Mike, I
Awesome.
want to
Thank
say
you.
thank you for coming on the show. Americanos has your back, man. So if there's any way we could help, and also want to thank you for coming on a live show. I think a lot of people don't realize how difficult it is for you to come on a live show.
Yeah.
So, couldn't edit anything out.
Nope.
No, there's no pre-questions.
Gotta get it
no
right the first
script.
time.
No script. Yeah, you got to get it right. All one. Michael, once again, thank you. We highly encourage the audience, go follow Michael, all his hard work, and I'm pretty sure Anthony will probably be covering some of his events, and Michael will be joining us. And he survived the downtown LA studio, guys. He could have got stabbed. We got crazy homeless. We got fentanyl needles all over the place, crack pipes, you name it. That's downtown LA. But once again, we're not leaving, man. We want to stay in here and keep on going. So make sure you guys go follow Michael. Keep up with that race. It's super important out here in California against Rob Bonta. I kind of like what that super chat said, that Rob Bonita. That's actually a really good nickname. You like that one, huh, man? Come show the shirt, bro. Let's go, Spencer. Saga la basura. This is the classic OG. Quick message, bro. Quick message. We gotta get you on one.
We gotta do x.com, Latinos por Poder. We'll be back on the podcast at some point, bro.
Yeah, we're gonna throw my man on from Cuba. Right now, guys, the show is continuing till 10 p.m. like normal, 8 to 10. We just have Anthony walking out. Michael, he's a busy man. This guy's campaigning. He's campaigning all over the Golden State. He's got people to meet, babies to kiss, all that good stuff. Thank you guys so much for coming. Just saying bye to the staff. Leave me a book, bro. Please. Gracias, amigo. We're gonna get you on the pod, bro, because I think you missed. Perfect. Yeah, we want to show them love. Guys, we are continuing the show. Thank you so much for coming. We gotta have a big carne asada with Michael and everyone. Yeah. So right now, guys, the show is continuing. We have 52 more minutes of show. We got our boy Anthony right now walking out our candidate for AG. That was awesome, right? Right. We got producer Jerry in the building. That was super awesome. I really like the momentum we're building, guys. Something beautiful is happening with the Americanos Podcast. And that was live. Like, you guys, to get a candidate to come on live, you guys know these candidates, they want pre-scripts. They want questions beforehand. What are we going to talk about? It could only be 10 minutes. You can't mention this. You can't mention that. We didn't get any of that with Michael's team. They basically said you could talk about anything. We didn't have to feed them any questions or anything like that. So, everything went really smooth. But I just want to say right now, guys, it's 9:08 local time. We got the live chat is rocking right now. So thank you guys, everyone. Thank you guys for joining. We got my boy Anthony about to be back in the mix. We were covering a lot of the Iran war. Some of those headlines were really big heading into the weekend. Man, boy, I got on, I'm not gonna lie, chat. I got on my sad boy vibes. Reading the news about Isabella Gonzalez, the private and only 19 years old from Texas. That got me on those sad boy vibes reading that. But Americanos, man. We're full on blasting. We got producer Jerry in the building.
Yes, sir.
I've actually quit my my C4 and ghost addiction, and I just been on strictly black coffee. Okay, guys, the show is still going. We're just waiting for our boy Anthony to get back in. We got my boy producer Jerry. Jerry, what'd you think of the interview?
I'm right here, man.
Cool, right?
It went amazing, dude. I
super
agree
chill.
with a lot of his points, and to the point he made, like a lot of people do live in that scene, the crime scene, you know. And I think people forget that there's good, hardworking people in those areas, and it's hard. It's really hard.
I like, bro, that he was like super representative about the working class. I'm big on that. Any candidate that's like, yo, I want to protect the working class. He was super big on that. Really like Michael Sick. I like the victims fund too. That was sick. We got a Red Bear, Jerry.
Red Bear.
Where'd you watch the Spain game?
At home.
Were you surprised by it? No, right?
It was whack. I hated that game. I watched France.
But you weren't
versus
surprised that
England.
they won, though, right?
You know, I was really hoping for Spain because I don't know. It just Argentina had such a bad attitude when it came to a lot of not only pregame and postgame. During the game, they were just fouling the entire time. I don't know. It was to me, it wasn't a good final. It was one of the worst finals I've seen.
That final, bro, was so dominant. Spain played that Barcelona soccer. They just kept the ball. That should have been like a 4-0 game. Man, dude, we have a really big week, guys. I think some of the stuff that we got coming up. Okay, so content-wise, right now, we are producing the show 2 times a week, 8 to 10 p.m. The team is looking good. We got me, Anthony, Araceli. We got producer Jerry. We got Haley, who's coming on as a rotating guest. I do want to say, guys, I know we've been saying it for a while, but we're getting closer. We're about to be back on the field soon. Don't forget, me and Anthony are field reporters. We're about to be back on the field. We had to launch the pod. We had to get everything fixed up in the studio. Anthony took on a lot of that work, so credit to Anthony. But guys, we will be back. One of our first stories, we'll be back in Mexico, in one of the most dangerous areas of Mexico, Baja California, cartel-controlled areas. We're going to be in those clandestine graves. We're going to be embedded with some of these families looking for their sons, daughters. It's going to be some crazy in-depth reporting. We're going to have it all on Americanos, and we'll have it here on the YouTube. We'll discuss on the pod. We have newsletters. We got some other stuff that I can't talk about too much. I did get tipped off yesterday from a Northern California sheriff about a cartel homicide, bro. So we might have to investigate some of that. Yeah, guys. Dude, this dude Red Bear,
holy shit.
Red Bear. Holy,
Red Bear's going insane.
$100. Dude, that's $300.
Anthony's back. All right, I
from
gotta
Red
go, guys.
Bear.
Bye. I love you.
Producer Jerry. We got Anthony coming back into the show. He's just walking out. Michael, thank you guys, everyone, for joining. The super chat is actually going up now. The viewers are going up. Let's go. Anthony's getting getting situated, back in the mix. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Jerry, did you do anything fun over the weekend? Jerry? No mic? We need a mic for producer Jerry. We got Anthony getting here back in the mix, getting back in the mix. Anthony, that was a good interview, right? Michael was really cool.
Dude, so my thing is, sorry, guys, I just ran up 3 flights of stairs. I just wanted to make sure I escorted him out because it is a dangerous area. But anyways, I didn't realize that Michael really is like a loophole, bro, to a lot of this bad legislation. And so it's been pretty kind of white pilling. I think I told you guys over on Telegram that I saw him speak a couple weeks ago, and he was just really going in on the fact of the whole voter registration, suing the state of California. Dude, if he gets in there as Attorney General, I mean, it's just going to be a complete game changer for the state of California. And what's great is that he has so much independent power, kind of what he was talking about, in really being able to change up and enforce the laws more than anything. And so I think that, again, dude, this is why, Red Bears, bro, thank you so much for the donations to live stream, and really everyone that has become a member. Tonight's just the beginning, guys. It really is. This podcast is really the future, especially when it comes to Los Angeles politics, local politics. we have these people that are in such critical, important roles, bro, that understand the necessity for podcasts for ours, because it's not just the 40 people tuned in right on the live stream. It's not the hundreds of people that have tuned in over the last hour and a half. It's the people that will see it tomorrow in short clips. It's the people that will see it across social media, reaching 10 to 25 million people every single month. We're really just building out here, guys. And it's just
I was trying to remind the audience, bro, that I'm like, hey man, don't forget, we're about to be back in the field soon, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, bro.
Don't get it twisted, guys. I know I look handsome in the studio, but we're about to be back in the field soon, you know? But that Michael interview was awesome. I didn't even know he was city attorney of Huntington Beach. He's been killing it at Huntington Beach. Huntington Beach is like one of the safest cities out of all of SoCal.
I know. And that's what I like about the guy, is that he already has like a proven record. And to be honest, dude, like I've been following up closely on his campaign. If you know, Donald Trump, if you can hear me, you know, and maybe you're looking to stack SCOTUS, this guy would be a perfect fit, because he's, you know, we were talking about to him right before the show, and him and his wife are just devout Catholics, God-fearing people, really good people.
Yeah.
You can just kind of tell when you're around people and they really just care about the state, et cetera. And I think that this is one of those campaigns, bro, where really, guys, start donating monthly if you can. Head on over to that website. The link is in the description for his website. Donating $5, $10, $25, whatever you can to his campaign, because, again, like this is one of those state roles that he can really come in there, and it doesn't necessarily matter who's the governor, who's running the state legislature. He's just going to come in there and do his job, and he's going to start investigating left and right. And he is one of those key roles in California where it's just a bipartisan seat, and he's just doing right by the justice system. It's not about having a Republican come in and destroy Democrats. It's not about that. It's just, dude, there are people that are Democrat, independent, libertarian, that have faced injustice in the court system, in the streets, in these institutions that for so long have just been so wronged that they're just like he said, like there's no more hope. But if we spread the word, if we get involved and we elect people like Michael Gates for Attorney General, I truly believe that we can start turning this state around in the right direction. So you've got people like Steve Hilton running for governor. You've got Gloria Romero, who left the Democratic Party. You've got people like Michael Gates. I really think we kind of have like a little bit of a dream team running, bro, that, to be honest, I think this is the closest we could ever get to really having that change in California. So it'll be interesting, man. Definitely one of those seats you want to look out for.
We'll be coming. Jerry, are you mic'd? Okay. Bro, that was a great interview. I'm pretty hyped after talking to Michael, and we got to take out Rob Bonita at the AG has to be taken out, and Michael would be a great pick. And like you said, bro, he's kind of like a loophole. You know, when you're like an AG, he doesn't have to cater to the governor. He doesn't have to cater to the supermajority of the state. He could literally just cater strictly to the people, which I like a lot. And his Spanish is good. He has some good
Spanish. Is good.
Has some good Spanish.
Mi amigo Miguel.
Yeah, he has some
Miguel
good
Gates.
Spanish.
Yeah, muy increíble, mi amigo. Hey.
He has some good Spanish for a white guy from Huntington Beach. Man, yeah. Thank you guys, everyone, for joining the chat. We got the chat jumping. Boom. I mean, look, bro. There's
What story are we jumping to next, bro?
Well, actually, I did want to get into this issue. Should we get into flock cameras right now? I didn't want to go back, bro, because I think we could have spent a little bit more time on it, but we had Michael here. We want to respect his time, but let me see. Let me get you this link. Let me get you a link. I'm gonna send this. Jerry, you're able to grab a link from Americanos chat? I don't have telly.
I don't think he's gonna be able to pull it up though, right? Oh, you can? Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, he said he can pull on anything.
See that link I just sent in the Americanos chat, bro?
Which one is this one for,
bro?
This
is gonna be the Laura Ingram soundbite.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna need you to send it through Telegram.
Oh, okay.
Are you on the Telegram chat?
I'm not, but I'll download it after today. Let me
send it to me and then I'll send it to him.
Can you grab that link from Americanos chat?
Yeah.
Grab that link, and I just want to set it up. I do guys want to touch again on the Iran war, just because Michael was here and we couldn't harp on it too much because we obviously needed to get on the California issues. But back on Iran, the reason why this was a big deal is that not only is the war back on, but I think really, Anthony, for the first time, not maybe for the first time, I think Republicans are seeing the warning signs that this could potentially cost them in the midterms. This was an interesting soundbite from me that I thought. Came from Laura Ingraham, Fox News.
He's ready to go.
Yesterday. Jerry, let's play that soundbite, and then me and Anthony will react.
And with the midterm elections a little more than 100 days away, the clock is ticking for President Trump to get out of this war before voters head to the polls. It's making a lot of Republicans nervous. It's already, as we know, unpopular. According to the new Washington Post Ipsos poll, 69% of Americans disapprove of the handling of this conflict. Republicans cannot let this become an endless distraction, especially if they want to win in November. Here to discuss.
Boom. And
Dude,
the reason
that's
why
actually a massive soundbite.
and this
Massive soundbite,
right, Anthony? And this
I
is what,
actually I hadn't heard that.
you haven't, and the
I
reason
saw
why
the caption that you posted, but I hadn't seen the actual video.
read that caption if you can. Now, the reason why, bro, I think this is a massive soundbite. This is Laura Ingraham, guys, on Fox. She knows that the president watches her show.
100%.
So she starts off with this message. And what was interesting, Anthony, is if on the visual, she shows the polling. So, she has a clear of the polling. It says 69% disapprove. And she's essentially asking the president, you better find a way out before November. And there was another headline where it says, Trump resumes Iran war. Republicans are rattled. This to me is a big deal once it's on Fox. Maybe if you watch independent media, you watch people like us. It's not the biggest deal, but this is on Fox News now. Laura Ingraham.
That to me is huge. I can't think of another bigger name outside of Laura Ingraham. I'm wondering what the conversation is looking like with Mark Levin around Fox News.
And this is the quote from Laura. The clock is ticking for President Trump to get out of this war before voters head to the polls.
I'm wondering if that was like her or
It's
if
not
that,
CNN.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is like I wonder if like she went off script. Or like, you know what I mean? Like, or if the producers had that written up because, wow. I mean, yeah, dude, it's one thing for like us to be saying it, we're a small time podcast. But for Fox News, Laura Ingraham to be saying something like this, dude, just leading with that,
Yeah, 'cause she knows the president.
Time
Yep.
for us to withdraw from this unpopular war. I think this marks like a new chapter in this conflict, and I'm going to be very interested. I think, honestly, I'll be waiting until Friday when the markets close. I know right now we're still back and forth with Iran and all that, but it's going to be very interesting to see what happens come markets closing come Friday, because from what I understand, President Trump has said that we're going to go in harder on.
I think right now we're possibly weighing ground troop invasion of Karg Island. I know right now President Trump is saying we might bomb Pix Axel Mountain, but right now potential ground troops on Karg Island, and everything that I've been reading, I think we mentioned it just previously, but I've been, guys, obsessed with the war in the past 48 hours, so I just like went crazy deep in it. And basically what I mentioned earlier, Anthony, is no war has been won where the country is superior on the air campaign. There's going to have to be some type of ground invasion. On the other hand, when you have a country like Iran or like back in the day Vietnam, where yes, they're not superior to United States militarily capability, what they're going to do is they're going to broaden what they call is horizontal escalation. So that's what Iran is doing. They said, okay, well, yeah, we can't beat you military wise. Close the Strait of Hormuz, bomb Gulf states, missiles over here, missiles to Dubai. They're just going to throw everything into chaos. And I think one thing that we're finding out as Americans, we're not as strong as we thought U.S. military-wise because of just how low our stockpiles are. But like Iran is a lot stronger than we thought, especially with these long-range missiles. And then what I was reading too, Anthony, is when those Americans died, they were shooting missiles to that air base in the middle of them sleeping. Mm-hmm. And we obviously didn't stop it. So I think the reality maybe starting to settle in for Fox News now.
Yeah, I mean, look, as for
have you seen really quick too, bro? Have you seen the viral clip of Maria Bonatomo from Fox where she's like, "But the president said that we've bombed all of their capabilities. How are they still attack? You know, it's like I think Fox News is having a rude awakening now.
Yeah, and I think that there's simply no covering it up anymore. And I think what it is that like Iraq and Afghanistan were a vastly different war, right? Which arguably you can take a look at that and be like, did we really even win that war? You know what I mean? Because as soon as we left, Taliban basically just took right over, right? And so I think that what's happening with Iran, and we really should have been looking more closely at the Ukraine and the Russia war, is how they're fighting their wars. And a lot of it is these unmanned drones that are carried out by fiber optics. Remember, you and I were talking in length about this. Stuff, And I think that, and I even told you this, I think last week, like kind of like offline, is that I think that this is another major reason of why these data centers are so critical in the United States, because it's no longer just who has the best fighter jets. It doesn't matter how many U.S. carriers we have. We dominate in that aspect, but unfortunately with Iran specifically, that's not a country that can be taken over simply by those old methods in which we still are very much dominant. We're going to have to start thinking outside of the box. We're going to have to start thinking, again, how do we take down these $30,000 drones that we are not able to detect, that Iran is using so wisely, that they're using so accurately? And it sucks to say it, you know, but very early on, this is one of the problems they said is Iran is not going to be another Iraq. It's not going to be Afghanistan. And there was like a report a while back in which I said Iran, it kind of said like, it painted the picture while the U.S. waged war in Afghanistan and Iraq and then Syria and all these places, Iran has been quietly watching. They've been watching the United States, the tactics, what they use, when, how, where. So for basically decades, Iran has been preparing through other methods of, okay, we know we cannot win through our Navy. We know we cannot win through our air superiority. So then how can we win? And so they said, okay, this is what we're going to do. They're taking out desalination plants. They're taking out oil refineries. They're taking out, I think just yesterday, there was a massive report that they ended up targeting an Amazon warehouse facility. Out there, I think in Kuwait or somewhere in one of these countries.
Yeah, I think they've killed civilian workers in Emirates. Yeah.
I mean, so again, I think that the U.S. is looking at this and saying, okay, wait a minute. We dominate the air and the Navy, but we're not able to dominate in these unconventional methods. And so, you know, to maybe push back a little bit early, what you said is maybe the U.S. is not strong. I think we're strong in the traditional sense, but I think we're just completely caught with our pants down, unfortunately, with
Iran's
a lot
big,
of
dude.
a lot of the bogus reporting, a lot of the false intel, bad intel. This will only last a couple of weeks. You have our guarantee, Mr. President. And then there was like the whole like week and a half where there was like a lot of F Netanyahu and we're done with Israel, right? Then there was like that little conflict there. Now Israel's not backing us anymore in the Iran war, saying that we're not going to be joining in on this anymore, or at least for the time being.
Yeah, so right now...
So it's really interesting, again, like where we're at, bro.
Yeah, like I guess Israel's defense minister gave like some TV interview and said that right now Israel's not going to get involved in the bombing campaign of the United States on Iran, which is like, oh yeah, that's nice for you guys. But then finding out, I guess Israel was taking a big beating over the last few months. And one thing to pay attention to, guys, is the Ukraine and Russia war, because of how much stockpiles, munitions we gave to Ukraine, now the United States is running low. So man, this thing is just unraveling here for the United States. But I wanted to touch on this, Anthony. I think, once again, it becomes, the American appetite for war is really low, but like I said, I think for me,
I guess it just depends on what kind of American you are.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because I think the Randy Fines and the Mark Levins are very happy and giddy about the fact that we're in this fork in the road and potential full-scale war. When I saw that headline yesterday, President Trump weighing all-out war in Iran, I'm like, dude, I wish I could be like a fly on the wall, just watching like Mark Levin open up that headline. He's like, oh, yes, finally, Just like, holy smokes, bro.
But what was your reaction, bro? Because like I said, and like we touched about this a little bit in the beginning of the show, but we had Michael here, so we went in a speed running through it. But now we're learning, man, about some of the American soldiers that died. Isabella Gonzalez was only 19 years old. The videos that are going around right now about her story, like she was getting her high school diploma last year. I mean, for you, bro, your son's in the military. What was your kind of reaction maybe reading some of those headlines?
Well, again, this is where like I talk to a lot of people. So here's the thing, okay? And I'm not trying to sound insensitive. I understand it's being a veteran myself and having a son that's, serving now, and my father who served and my father before him. I understand that this is a voluntary service. There's a lot of people out there kind of with these nasty comments saying like, well, if you don't want to die, don't sign up, because that's essentially what you sign up for, which realistically speaking, yes, you're absolutely right. Doesn't matter which commander in chief it is. Doesn't matter if you like his politics or not. When you sign that oath to defend our nation against, enemies, foreign and domestic, that means foreign and domestic, and under any president, under any political party. I served all 8 years under President Obama. It didn't matter if you liked the guy's politics or not. We did our mission. We did our job to the best of our ability. Now, kind of what Michael Gates was talking about is it also does matter to have really good leadership. When Donald Trump won, my son was still enrolling, and he was actually looking at enroll in the Army first, and later he ended up doing the Air Force. But when we went back, I actually held off on my son's enrollment to the Army pending the 2024 election results. So when Donald Trump won, we went right into that recruiting office and said, hey, this is our guy. He won. I don't think we need to worry about war. And then fast forward to today, I guess maybe you can, what is it? You fell for it award or whatever, But realistically, again, I think that a lot of people, man, are looking at this. I mean, again, when you've lost Laura Ingraham of Fox News, it's like, dude, we need to pivot away from this. And the fact that now we're seeing the faces of 19-year-olds, bro.
That's the thing.
And what I was getting to with that story with my son is now he's 19, he's in the military.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of that Army recruiter that said, you know what? You're not the only family that postponed the election results. As soon as Donald Trump was announced a winner, we got phone calls from people that we've been trying to contact for weeks, and they haven't picked up the phone.
That's crazy.
And now everyone's signing up because they know that we're having Donald Trump, and this guy's not going to start any new wars. And so I think that, Mr. President, you need to think about that. I understand that, these soldiers and these airmen and we sign up and we're willing to defend this nation, but I think this could have been avoided, bro. You know, and I think that that's like the overall message here is like, this is a very avoidable conflict.
The stories are sad, bro. I always get, I don't know what it is about these stories, man, but they always hit me. Tyler Feehan, we also know about him, 25 years old only, from Hawaii, dying the same day as Isabella. Then Michael Emmanuel Swinton, man, 30 years old. Like, I feel like I just relate to him a bit because I'm 31, he's 30. I have a 4-year-old, he has a 4-year-old. Those stories are heartbreaking. I remember, I don't know if I should say, I was like at it was like 6, 7, 8, it was like right in the beginning of the war.
6, 7.
It was right in the beginning of the war. And I was actually in Mexico working on a cartel story, and I remember I wrapped up that cartel story. So me and we call him a fixer, the Mexican journalist I was working with. We went to a bar, we're having a good time, we're having alcohol and stuff. And I think it was right in the beginning of the war where I forgot what Iran did, where they killed like 6 of our guys, and then the story started to come out. And I remember one of my buddies sends me the social media post of like the wife, and bro, we're in a bar in Mexico, and I'm like bawling like a baby, like crying at this bar like a baby. My friend thought I had like mental issues. She's like, "You good?" I'm like, "I don't know why I get like this, dude." But
my boy just crying out here to Cantina.
I think that the Isabella story was super sad because you see like how young she was, and like all of the videos is like barely her in high school, not like anything, and anything else. And I just think, I don't know, it's just once we get more of these stories, I just think that like once again it's just gonna grow more and more unpopular with Americans. But really quick, we have a $15 super chat from our one and only Penny Witz. Penny, thank you so much. We know we love you. She goes, I owe Anthony $5 for diagnosing my autism. Another $5 to hear him say Millennial or I don't know if you know that word, and then another $5 for the fire reporting and commentary on the Iran conflict. Keep it up. What's the word?
You know what's so funny about that word, bro, is that she's in my Telegram, right? And she used the word milieu. And I was just like, dude, you use all these sophisticated words that most people wouldn't know. And it's so funny that you just so happen to be like, what is that word?
Yeah. Pennywitz, thank you so much. Honestly, Pennywitz is always in our chat supporting. Yeah, man. So once again, guys, we'll have more on we'll have more updates on maybe if anything happens in these next 2 days for the Thursday show on Iran. But just some of the biggest takeaways is obviously we got the idea of the Americans who died. We share their stories. The Pentagon, bro, needs $1 billion more. According to P. Hexler, we've already spent $37 billion. Stockpiles running low. I'm trying to find a positive out of this one.
Yeah.
And then actually, bro,
I could actually give you at least one positive.
give me a positive.
And I know it sounds very stupid, but in a way, I'm kind of again, if you must take away anything, is we are starting to learn that the old ways of war will no longer cut it in the future.
That's
and so
great point, bro.
To me, it's like we need to be looking at this Iran conflict and be very concerned about China. Because I guarantee you, man, that China is learning from the Iran conflict, you know, listening to us.
Dude, you're so right about this.
Listening to us say that we've gone through all our depleted system, our oil reserve is down. China is probably like creaming in the pants, bro, foaming at the mouth, saying this is exactly what we want to hear.
Bro, why are we fighting this like 2004?
You can't even handle Iran. What makes you think we're going to be able to go against drone warfare, drone advance, data center advance, China, bro? So to me, it's like a huge red flag that with Iran still, with these desert countries, bro, not dogging them, by the way, not saying like, hey, you desert people, whatever. They've got their tactics and they're leaning into this guerrilla warfare. They're shipping in these drones from either China or Russia, and Iran's just looking at China and Russia like, yo, you guys are good. Russia, you keep doing your thing in Ukraine. China, you keep building your data centers over here. We got the Americans, bro. We got them chokeholded here in the Strait. They keep saying it's open. We start bombing ships, and now the ships are afraid. So I mean, dude, it's again. This is, again, the main reason, bro, why people insisted, dude, don't jump into this conflict because Iran is not Iraq, it's not Afghanistan. And so if anything, the positive is we got to learn, and we got to learn quick.
Good point, man.
That Russia is using this advanced drone fare, and Ukraine has we were talking about this on the way over. To their credit, they've been able to fend off Russia.
That's what I say. We can't even fend off Iran. Ukraine is fending off Russia.
I know, bro.
To the point where U.S. officials are traveling to Ukraine and being like, teach us about these drones.
Yeah. And so now, I have talked to some sources in the military here and abroad, in which they are saying that there are a lot of Ukrainian leaders, a lot of Ukrainian military, and even some of these like small militias that are teaching Americans how to deal with this drone warfare, because it doesn't look like things are going to be stopping anytime soon with Iran. But again, like military experts for over a decade have been saying that they predict that the U.S. and China are going to be in a direct or indirect conflict over Taiwan and all that spiel over there as soon as 2027. So we might be looking at, midterms are over, and now we've got Iran, Russia, and China at the front door, and it's gonna be interesting times, man. If we're not prepared.
I think I was reading the Wall Street Journal that Ukraine's AI drones are so good that if you're a Russian soldier, your average lifetime on the battlefield is now 30 seconds, bro. 30 seconds out.
Yeah.
And we can't even handle Muhammad in sandals. And we're the most powerful military in the world.
Yeah. I know.
It's like, yeah, we're cooked, chat. I'm just kidding, guys. Nice. Guys, thank you guys so much. We got a lot. We got our Pennywitz in the game. Red Bear. Pennywitz says, I honestly enjoy seeing all your donations. Awesome to see someone giving so much. I salute you, sir. Thank you. We got a big hater in the chat, Daniel Price. F7C. We always appreciate haters in the chat. Thank you.
We love our broke, less successful haters, bro.
And my boy Run with Kurt says Israel only wants to prolong the war. Shout out to my boy Curtis, man, watching live from Huntington Beach. Yeah, we had Michael in earlier. It was a really great interview. You guys can always go back and stream the whole thing. But moving on here, bro, we got some of our last minute stories here. We got 22 minutes left. Let's touch on this agriculture bill, man. Talk to me about it. I've been seeing this on X. What is this? Trump's gonna allow the illegals to stay, bro, or what?
Yeah, so basically this was a big bill. Donald Trump was actually asked about this earlier today by a reporter. He was giving a briefing out at the White House in which he was asked, what do you think about this new legislation as far as the agriculture? It seems like there are some bipartisan efforts in order to add language into the bill that would essentially give amnesty or legal status working status to illegals that work in agriculture. So this is Steve Ferguson. It says a new agriculture bill just dropped in the House of Representatives. This was 2 days ago. It features granting amnesty to illegal aliens present in the United States as of May 31st, 2026, who meet minimal agricultural work history requirements. How many illegal aliens will claim to be agriculture workers? And that is the text House Resolution 9535 that is being voted on. And again, Donald Trump was asked today. He actually said he hadn't read into it or that specific disclosure of the granting of the amnesty. So he's going to take a closer look at that. But there has been a lot of debate. Ana Paulina Luna, representative out of Florida, she already said this is dead on arrival. We are not granting amnesty, not now, not ever, something along those lines. But there are some people that say, like, hey, I've seen some Republicans online saying who's going to come and pick her. This would be a great segment for Araceli. You know how much she just loves illegal slave labor. Miss Araceli, she loves the idea of getting illegals to come into this country and work the jobs that we don't want. That reminded me of like the Kelly Osbourne soundbite where she's like, Donald Trump, if you deport the illegals, who's going to clean toilets? Oh. And even like the rest of the View panel was just like, yo, like we do way more than just clean toilets. And she's like, no, that's not what I meant. And this and that. And it was like a whole thing. Obviously, I'm being over hyperbole here with Araceli.
I got that tweet up, bro. Yeah. Ana Paulina. This is the headline that she responded. So the headline goes, a large group of House Republicans are backing legislation that would grant legal status to illegal immigrant farm workers who were present in the U.S. as of May 31st, 2026. Paulina replies saying this will never come to the floor. No amnesty, not now, not ever.
Yeah, and then we got and so again, this raises the concern again. I know that President Trump himself, during his campaign back in 2024, when he was campaigning for president, he did talk about they're going to be doing something with the Dreamers. Obviously, we have seen a couple of reversals on the specific targeting of these deportations. I remember he did like that one interview where he was talking about like maybe we're going to leave the hotel workers alone, maybe we're going to leave the farm workers alone. These are good people, etc. So he's kind of been making the case that maybe there should be some kind of protected illegal aliens that if they don't have any criminal record outside of being here illegally, whether that's overstayed visas or just making it across the border in the last 4 to 10 years, that maybe there should be some kind of work status for them. But as far as amnesty, again, Representative Ana Paulina, I think she's got her finger on the pulse of the base of MAGA, in which they're saying absolutely not. And so, again, something needs to be worked out. Obviously, this cannot remain the same forever. I think that before, and I've said this before on Telegram, I think I've said it here, come Donald Trump leaving office in 2028, I think we're going to be seeing some type of amnesty deal for the Dreamers at the very least. In which maybe there's a pathway to citizenship share. So, if it doesn't happen now, just be prepared for something along those lines come 2028. But this is like one of the bigger argument ones that Republicans are discussing online right now. I mean, what do you think, man? You think we should give, if you're working in agriculture and you haven't committed any heinous crimes, all you've done is just you've overstayed your visa or you came here illegally, but you're working those jobs out there in agriculture, amnesty?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one, man. Because
come on, bro.
The thing is, these the companies the owners of these companies are some of Donnie's biggest friends, you know, so they've gone up to him before and being like, yo, we need an exemption over here, you know? I don't know. I gotta do a little bit more research on it. We gotta see how much I might be a little bit more forgiving on this one. But we got a super
You
chat.
don't say.
We got a super chat. We got a super chat over here. Andrea Shearer, $1.99. Thank you. She says, got here late. Cheers to my favorite Americanos. Hey, it doesn't matter that you got here late. As long as you came, you arrived. You could always go back and stream the show. But we're still live for 16 minutes. You could always still join the chat, comment, all that good stuff.
It's all right to come early. It's all right to come late.
Yeah, it's all good. Redbear85 says Latino conservatives will have their voice. You guys will make it. TBWY Studio says, Anthony, have to ask again, do you like Juan Gabriel's songs?
I'll be honest with you. I think you did ask this last time.
Right? Yeah.
I think I've listened to some of them, bro. But I'll be honest. I have never, ever in my life typed in the words Juan Gabriel, any song.
He's sassy.
So I mean, well, I think he's dead now, right? Did he die to AIDS? Isn't he dead?
Yeah, but he's
Jerry,
so
producer
sassy.
Jerry, can we get a fact check? Is Juan
Yeah,
Gabriel
he's dead.
dead?
He has to be.
Yeah, he's got to be, right? So to me, didn't he die to AIDS? Wasn't he gay?
Just because he's gay doesn't mean he died because of AIDS.
No, I know.
Singer?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
singer.
August 28, 2016, died at 66.
What did he die of?
Natural causes, heart attack.
He died a whole
Natural-
10 years ago.
Natural
Heart
causes.
attack.
What's natural for gays to die of?
Heart attack.
AIDS.
AIDS?
Okay, but did he have AIDS with the heart attack? Is this like one of those pandemic things where people were having heart attacks, but they also had coronavirus, so they labeled it as a coronavirus?
Oh, I get what you're saying. Damn, this guy was 2016, bro. We're late.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anyone Spanish I've been listening to. I still listen to Aventura. I still love that bachata sound.
Okay.
You're like, no.
Yeah, no, I don't listen to, what is it, bachata?
You don't.
Who did you say?
Put Aventura.
Let me see here.
Put some bro. Next date night. Have a glass of wine with your
Bro,
wife.
remember
Put some
copyright
Aventura.
strikes. So just, like leave it for like 5 seconds, and then I think we should be okay. Yeah, he's like, I don't want to be. Okay, well, let me see. What is it called?
Aventura. It's my last name, but with an A in front of it. Jerry, what's the Spanish
so
artist
stupid.
you like?
Spanish artist?
Yeah, I'm trying to think too.
Aventura.
I did a lot of the.
Why
old
does it
school
look like
reggaeton.
a Dominican
Frontera.
emo
Oh, Grupo
song?
Frontera is good.
What's Obsession?
Yeah.
that a good one?
Yeah. Don't get copyrighted.
Oh shit. This is gay. A cell phone, bro? Okay, hold on.
Dude, you listen to that
Wait,
with,
okay,
like,
hold on.
with a woman. You're gonna dance. Yeah, you don't what? Yeah, you don't want to like.
Okay,
it's
let me
gonna
get to the
it's gonna
chorus.
It's gonna be music you could dance with a female. You want to dance
Okay.
with like another man. I want it just to be tough, bro.
Okay, well, he's singing with 3 other dudes and they all look gay. All right, but of course, this is right up your alley,
do
bro.
that, to be honest, bro. It's actually music for toxic men because it's all about men that are basically cheating.
You're a toxico?
Huh?
You're a toxico?
I'm an angel now, bro. I changed.
I'm
I'm a man of God. I'm a family man.
Okay, well, hold on. Let's get to the actual chorus. Hold on. This is very gay coded.
No, it is not, dude.
I'm gonna have to say this is very gay coded,
No.
bro. When
This
men
was
have
tripping.
to do the that's gay,
singing.
bro. Yeah.
He's singing, bro.
No, see.
You want to be like, oh, I'm a straight guy singing like this?
You want to listen to some? You want to listen to some real man music?
No, I don't.
You want to?
It's gonna be so gay. It's
No.
like some West
Oh,
Hollywood
really?
shit.
How much you want to bet?
Yeah.
America.
Yeah, it's gonna
If you want some freaking real music,
be.
bro.
We got okay. GNet8907 says, "Querida." Am I saying that right? Noah, vamos a bailar. Pennywitz. Noah, vamos a bailar. Who likes Richie Valens?
This is some real music for you, boy.
I swear, bro. I heard that song. I probably heard that song in the
All
gay
right.
club I was with Araceli at or something. That's such a gay club anthem.
Bro, you listen
I
to
was not there.
Metallica, but first, let me tell you something. Okay, wait.
No.
Serious question.
No.
Jerry, who is most likely to be played at a gay bar? Aventura or Metallica?
Metallica.
Yeah, you're such a liar. Bro, you are such a liar,
But
bro.
Chata is like, it's literally a man and a woman. It's
Oh, hell no. No.
He's not having it.
Bro, you're so... You guys are both so cap, bro. You're telling me gay people
Yeah.
are doing their debauchery.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Gay rock and roll.
And they're probably
Gay
sniffing
rock and
coke.
roll. What does that even mean?
Gay rock and roll and coke. That's what you're about, all right? That's your ethos.
No way, bro. Oh my gosh. This is Aventura, bro.
I'm trying to listen to another one.
That sounds like stuff that you would listen
What
to.
about Don Omar? Try Don Omar. Don Omar's nice.
Don Omar, but there's old stuff though.
His old
Like
stuff.
his-
Yeah. I'm trying to think now.
But I don't think he did the.
every
That shit is just so gay, bro.
Aventura does have a bunch of songs where like the song starts, and then the guy goes, "So nasty," and then he describes then he describes a scene of him cheating on his chick. I don't know.
You know what I did like listening to you with when we were sleeping together in Texas was covering the border story. Duh, stupid. That's what I meant.
Corridos?
And the narco corridos.
He likes the narco
They're
corrido.
listening to you. I think you introduced me to like Peso Pluma.
Yeah.
And then you had like some.
The one you like
there's
is
El Niño de
the one that
Morros
you
or
really
whatever.
like is El Flash. Play that one.
El Flash. Yeah.
You like
yeah,
that one.
Yeah,
I like that
yeah.
one. That's a banger.
I
Yeah,
like
the
that. I like that kind of like I don't know. Like I guess they call them narco corridos.
Yeah, it's like a narco corrido sound. The thing about narco corridos and the is we get all that wave, all that music first in Cali, bro. It was a few years ago. I was kicking it with some homies in New York. They didn't even get narco corridos. They had no Peso Pluma getting into New York. And then I showed a couple of them, and then they all fell in love. But let's go. We got actually I agree with this. We got Janet Ramirez Arazaga, 4593. She goes, real music is BYOB by System of a Down. I like that.
The System of a Down, bro. They rock. That's some real music right there. You don't know nothing about that, boy.
Is Red Bear 85? Is this lyrics? She goes, I have a girl. Donna is her name. She says she loves me, and I have never been the same because I love girl Donna. Is that a song, bro? That has to be.
You don't know Richie Valens?
Oh, that's what it was?
Oh, Donna. Oh, Donna.
The first rock band, I
I have a girl.
Okay, we're gonna listen
And
to it.
Donna is her name.
think. There it is. That sounds
Yeah,
good.
there we go. Yeah. No, that's a classic. Little Richie Valens.
Producer Jerry, what's the first rock band you like? Rock band. Anything rock.
Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath was your
Okay,
first?
yeah.
You remember your first?
Rock band?
Yeah. I got on rock late, but
I think honestly it was Metallica, bro.
Metallica's
I got
nice.
Metallica like really early on. Really liked them a lot. I feel like they've always just transcended time. Like it's like you listen to their old stuff, you can listen to it now, and it's like, dude, they're still banging.
it's so big. You're right. I was always a hip hop kid, and then I think I was 13 years old, and my cousin was like, "You got to hear this." And then he plays the very first rock song and rap band I like. He plays "Rate Me" from Nirvana, and that was banging.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
the Nirvana?
I fell in love with Nirvana, and then right after he played me "Rate Me," he played me "Rage Against the Machine." Bulls on Parade. Bulls on Parade. Da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, what is this? And I was hooked, bro. I was hooked on Nirvana young. Then I went to Rage. Then learned about Sublime. And then I went on. And then I fell in love with that SoCal like punk. It was like that good Charlotte, Blink
Dude, remember
182.
like Sum 41.
Sum 41.
Dude, like the early 2000s, like skater. I went through like a skater phase when I was in
That
middle
was
school.
the best.
Oh, dude,
That's the best.
That was so good. Like the early, like
That's the
and
best.
You like you get the summers off. You're skating at your local high school with the
Yes.
boys. You know,
Yeah, you turn on
and then
MTV,
you turn on like the
it's a
MTV,
good night, when it all
VH1. The
feels
Green
like-
Day is on.
Yeah.
Sum 41, bro.
I miss
Blink
those
182,
days. Blink
bro.
182, bro.
Come
I used
on.
to turn on MTV. My mom would be like,
Where
"Turn that
are
on." I'd be
you?
like, fuck you, mom.
And
Fucking
I'm
outta
so
here, dude.
sorry.
Yeah,
dude,
dude.
so good, bro. So good.
Dude, ditching school, getting my heart broken, smoking pot. Missed that.
I don't know about the smoking pot part, but definitely, yeah, I got my heart broken.
It's a new day. Okay, we got Pennywitz, bro. $5 super chat.
She left us
put
homework.
homework. Oh, I like this,
Watch
actually.
Metallica's 1989 Grammy performance to see in real time how they go from kind of shy
Hey,
to let her rip when the song gets going. So good.
That's cool, actually.
Yeah, bro. I even like some like the alt scene ones. There was like that Muse. Yeah.
I
Muse
forgot
is really
about
good route.
Muse.
Yeah.
Used to play
They
Muse
had,
in the-
they had a good couple of songs too as well.
I like this. Actually, Pennywise,
But-
I'm gonna watch that tonight. Maybe pick up a little 12-pack of Coors, put that 1989 Grammy
All right,
performance.
but we need to get drunk on this,
I'm
bro.
just
You know what I mean?
kidding, bro.
Strong
ruin
India
the
says
fun.
Guitar Hero and Rockman got me into Classic Rock. I think everyone had an
Yeah.
emo phase. Oh, dude, I'll
Guitar
never
Hero.
forget early 2000s again. Skating scene and stuff, and then when Facebook MySpace.
Yep.
When MySpace, bro, that's when I really went into like the hardcore emo. I was shopping at Hot Topic for all lifestyle, bro. I had like the little wristbands that had like the red and the black,
Hey,
and you
rocker
color
Anthony.
coordinate. And I remember when everyone had like the Super Saiyan blowouts back
Yeah.
then. You would like comb it back or whatever. Everyone had like that hairstyle, whatever. That was me. That's. I wish I could go back and find my MySpace. I was hella emo.
Because of my age, bro, I saw the emo phase in the teenagers. And then Jersey Shore came out when I was in middle school, high
GTL?
school. So then I saw people go from emo to the blowout and try to be Guido. So I got to see the two those two worlds collide. Damn, bro, I miss these days. Now that we're we got Strong and Yeah says I tried the skateboard but fell on my ass hard and gave up. We got GNet89 Skater Boy. Those were the days, man. I was like the one Latino kid with all the white boys, and they all had like the skater hair, and I would beg my mom to let me grow out my hair, and she said no. So I was always rocking the Hispanic lineup, and then they were all rocking the skater long hair. So
You rocked the Edgar before
then
it
I
was
beg-
Edgar?
then I begged my mom if I get the piercings, the snake bites, and then
Oh,
she almost
yeah.
deported me back to El Salvador. So I never tried again.
She's like, if you ever give me, you know what I used
I
to
don't
do?
have no tattoos and
you
no
know,
piercings.
you know what I used to do back then? I know it's kind of like lame, but you know how like keys have like the little ring chains or whatever.
Yeah.
So what I used to do is I used to bite them open, and you can put them on your lip, and it would look like a lip
That's
piercing.
gay.
That was super gay, but that's what a Christian boy would do to bypass the no piercings.
See, I can't even talk.
But the thing is back then, like with the emo scene
That's
and
right,
like the
the-
skating scene, it was that lip one, right?
The lip
like
thing
the white boys always had it, like the little lip stuff or
It
whatever.
sucked because girls wanted that. So as a teenage boy, you're like, damn, I need that. You know?
I need to have the lip piercing
Yeah.
in order for girls to want it.
Because in high school,
That's just how we thought.
high school
You
girls
know?
want the guy who's like throwing
The
away his
rebel.
whole future. You
Yeah.
know, snake
Yeah,
bites,
yeah, yeah.
doing drugs, and I'm like, I want to be him.
That Indian kid that's getting the straight A's, fuck
Yeah,
that guy.
yeah,
You know what I
and
mean?
now-
Yeah. Now they're just like, maybe I should have gone with that guy instead of like the freaking guy that
And
threw
this is
away
funny.
his life.
So Strong and Yeah says, I gauge my year's most horrible decision. I got something gayer that I did, bro. So in high school.
Oh, let's hear
in
about
high
how gay you are.
I
Let's do it.
did have the, I got my ears pierced in high school. So I was rocking like the diamond earrings, like every other like Latino. But
Not me.
I always
I
wanted
wasn't
to
gay.
stretch out my ears and do the gauge. But obviously my mom's Salvadorian. She would not allow me. So what I did,
Which
bro.
is weird because I feel like Salvadorians would rock with that more because of like the whole like Aztec Maya.
But
stuff.
the thing is, bro, is I would actually buy the fake gauges and I would put them in my ears. So I'll be rocking fake gauges.
What does that mean, fake ages?
Like it's basically like a regular earring, but it looks like a gauge. So it looks like I stretched my ear out, but I never did. I wasn't about it, bro. I
so
tried to
did
lie
it
to the
just
game.
look
I tried to-
transparent so that it looked like you had a hole there?
Yeah.
That is super gay.
That's gay, huh?
That's even gayer than what I did.
No, that's gay. No,
No,
what you
that-
did is gay.
that's not gay because that was that was a skater
Let's
thing.
look, Jerry, which one's gayer?
The gauge is gayer. Jerry's gonna side with you. He's
Where's my keys?
bro, that is crazy. But
See, look, my boy. Oh yeah, see my boy Run with Kurt knows. He says, "Ha, bro, hung out with the whites. I was with the whites, bro. I was hanging out with Big Kurt back in the day.
you know what's crazy? I'll never forget. There wasn't a lot of white people in my school because I lived in the valley. There was a lot of Latinos, some blacks, and I remember I had one white really good friend. He was like the tallest guy ever, and his name was Matt. So shout out to Matt.
Shout
I
out
don't
to
know where
Matt,
you
bro.
are, bro, but he was literally like the coolest guy ever, and he always wanted to
hopefully
be.
you're alive.
He'd always tell me like, dude, I wish I was Hispanic. And I'm like, nah, bro, just rock being white. But he was like a trendsetter though, because he would come in like he was like a big skater guy. And I think because he was white, he was just, his parents were together and well off. You know, so like he would always come back with like the latest skater shoes and all that stuff. And I was like, damn, I want to be like Matt, bro. You know, so
Well, I
he
hope
wanted to
Matt's
be
doing
like
good.
the Hispanics, but like
Hopefully,
we
it's
wanted to be
Matt's
like him.
watching somewhere. Matt, hopefully you're off drugs. You're doing good.
Yeah, I think he's fine. I think he's doing fine. He
I
was
mean,
a
he
cool
had
guy.
two white parents. He's doing fine.
Yeah, bro. He was, you know.
That's the logic.
Yeah, you know, he's doing all right. I'd be shocked he's not doing good.
No, man. If you have two white parents, statistically, you should be doing good.
Yeah,
I mean, you're already
in
born with
America.
like a 700 credit
In
score.
America, because like if you're born in South Africa to white parents, maybe it's
yeah,
it's not going so good for you.
Yeah, that one's a no-go.
Or the UK.
Yo, shout out to Daniel Price for like not only being here the whole time, but like hating the whole time. Like you do need some loyal hating. If you don't have
100%.
no loyal hating, you're not
You're
doing
doing
anything
something wrong, yeah.
So Daniel Price, thank you, bro. I guess watch Thursday, 8 p.m. Live on the West
come
Coast.
back, Daniel. Come back
Yeah.
Thursday.
doing a shirt giveaway.
We gotta get Eric in here. Photos with Eric is on.
Photos where Eric says fake Lee Pearson is basically bisexual behavior, which I agree with.
Wow, you're one to talk. What kind of behavior were you engaged in, J6er? Hey, Eric, let's get you on the show, bro. I'll text you. Let's get you on the show. Seriously.
Yeah, actually, we should get Eric on.
Actually, Eric, can you come Thursday? Because I think Amir's not here.
Oh yeah, we have no Amir.
Oh wait,
We will have full attendance. I
we'll
think.
have full tell because
We'll
Haley
work
and
something out with
yeah,
her.
Eric, bro. I'll text you, bro. You got to come back here.
So right now, bro, we're about 1 minute. I don't know if you want to say anything, shout out anything. Oh, Pennywise, this is funny. We was kings too.
We was kings. We was kings and shit. No, hey guys, I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. Obviously, we had Mr. Michael Gates. The idea is whenever we have like candidates like that on the show, we don't necessarily want to run them the full 2 hours. We're gonna get them in here, allow them a space to kind of just make the pitch, and let you guys ask the questions live, which a lot of you did ask, and I thank you for that, for tuning in. And yeah, we're hoping to do a lot more of that. I think we've got some stuff that are going to start launching next week with some candidates and some campaigns. They're going to be launching in really August, September, bro. Things are going to start getting real spicy as far as California politics. And don't forget, we're trying to do a great show for you guys come Election Day, November. That's going to be a great one. And so we're just kind of like weeks away, couple months away. We're going to be planning for that. Great guests, great show all around. And again, none of this would be able to happen without you guys being able to donate and support and become contributors. Thank you guys so much for keeping the lights on. I hope that today wasn't super dry. I think Michael was great. We're going to continue to support his campaign. We welcome him back on the show to talk about his campaign and things that are happening in California statewide. But if you guys don't follow me on social media at Inform with Anthony across all socials. Thank you guys for being in. And yeah, good night.
Guys, it is 10 p.m., so I just want to say thank you everyone that has watched the show tonight. If you joined late, no worries. You could always go back and stream it. If you did join, thank you guys for joining the chat. It's what makes this fun. Tune in Thursday. We have our Thursday show live again at 8 p.m. And the fun thing about Thursday, guys, is we will have full attendance. Haley Gomez is back. Ada Silly Unfiltered will be back. So it'll be us four going over the top news stories of the week. Maybe we'll have some more updates on Iran is what I'm expecting. But once again, thank you everyone for joining. Please share if you can. Donate, become a member, but share. We are building this thing from the ground up. We will see you Thursday, 8 p.m. West Coast Show.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Says we was kings.